You might be feeling completely worn out. You might be broke, exhausted, and wondering if all the effort you're putting in is worth anything at all. Life feels heavy, and it's easy to think that someone else should step in to make things easier. But the truth is, the power to change your life starts with you. Every decision you make, every action you take, and every moment you choose to push forward matters more than you realize. This audiobook isn't about luck or waiting for the perfect conditions. It's about showing you how to stand up when no one else will, how to keep going even when your energy is low, and how to build a life where you rely on your own strength and determination. You'll discover how to take control of your time, protect your energy, and create habits that actually move you forward day after day. You'll learn how to face fear without hesitation, how to turn pain into motivation, and how to keep believing in yourself even when everything around you feels like it's against you. This is about practical steps you can take right now to improve your life. It's about building discipline when motivation is gone, learning new skills that open doors, and staying consistent when you feel like giving up. By the end of this audiobook, you'll understand that being alone, tired, or broke doesn't define your future. Your choices do. Your effort does. And the strategies you'll hear here will give you the tools to start moving forward immediately, creating results that you can see, feel, and rely on. If you're ready to stop waiting for someone else to rescue you, to stop blaming circumstances, and to finally take control of your life, then this audiobook is for you. Every chapter is designed to give you clear, actionable guidance, motivation you can feel, and practical steps that will make a difference starting today. This isn't about easy answers or quick fixes. It's about doing the work, making the effort, and proving to yourself that you are capable of more than you've allowed yourself to believe. Stick with it. Listen closely and get ready to discover what you can achieve when you decide to do it alone, even when you're broke and tired. There comes a moment in every person's life when everything feels too heavy to carry. The weight of bills, broken relationships, failed attempts, and unfulfilled dreams piles up until even breathing feels like work. You wake up tired, not just from lack of sleep, but from the exhaustion of fighting the same battles every day. You try to stay strong, but deep down you feel like the world has quietly moved on without you. That moment when you're on your knees, unsure if you can take another hit, is where courage is truly born. Courage is not loud. It doesn't shout or announce its arrival. It's silent, steady, and often invisible. It's the quiet decision to get out of bed when your mind says there's no point. It's showing up to face your problems without anyone's applause. It's choosing to keep your dignity even when life strips you of comfort. Most people think courage is about being fearless, but that's not true. Real courage is moving forward even when fear fills your chest like fire. Chapter 1. Stand up and face your struggle with courage. When you decide to stand up and face your struggle, you are making one of the most important decisions of your life. Because that's the moment you stop letting life dictate who you are and start taking control of who you become. Every struggle you face, no matter how unfair or painful, is a test of your strength. It's not a punishment. It's life's way of asking, how bad do you want to rise? There are two kinds of people when struggle appears: those who collapse and wait for someone to rescue them, and those who face it head-on, no matter how broken they feel. You might not realize it yet, but every hardship you've endured has prepared you for this exact moment. Pain is a brutal teacher, but it's also the most honest one. It strips away illusions, exposes your weaknesses, and forces you to grow. The truth is, nobody becomes wise without suffering. Nobody becomes disciplined without hardship. And nobody becomes strong without being tested. When you are broke, tired, and alone, courage becomes your only weapon. It won't magically fix everything, but it will keep you moving when everything else tells you to stop. You don't need to have the answers. You don't need to feel confident. You just need to take one step forward with your head held high and your heart open to the lesson hidden inside the pain. Most people try to run away from struggle. They hide behind distractions, comfort, or excuses. But the ones who face it directly, those who walk straight into their fear, discover a power inside them that changes everything. When you stop avoiding your pain and start working through it, life begins to respect you differently. You begin to respect yourself differently. You realize that your limits were never real. They were mental walls built by fear and self-doubt. Once you've faced your reality, the next step is to decide what to do about it. Courage doesn't mean charging into battle without a plan. It means being disciplined enough to take control of your response. You might not be able to fix everything immediately, but you can always control your attitude, your effort, and your direction. No matter how much you've lost, those three things remain yours. Facing your struggle with courage starts with accepting your reality as it is. That's the hardest part for most people. They spend years denying their situation, blaming others, or pretending things are fine when they're not. But courage requires honesty. You can't change what you refuse to face. If your life is falling apart, admit it. If you've made mistakes, own them. If you've lost your direction, stop pretending you know where you're going. There is no shame in struggling. The only shame is in staying stuck because you were too afraid to confront your truth. The mistake many people make is waiting until they feel ready to face their problems. But readiness is an illusion. You'll never feel completely ready. Courage doesn't wait for the perfect moment. It creates the moment by acting despite uncertainty. If you're waiting until the fear fades, you'll wait forever. Courage begins when fear is at its strongest. The more afraid you are, the more important it is to take that first step. Maybe you've been through heartbreak that still haunts you. Maybe you've failed so many times that hope feels foreign. Maybe you're tired of fighting battles nobody sees. But standing up with courage doesn't mean ignoring your pain. It means using it. Every wound carries energy. If you channel it into growth, you turn pain into strength. That's how warriors are made. Not in times of peace, but in the fire of adversity. Think about every time you've survived something you thought would destroy you. You've already proven your resilience more times than you realize. You've faced loss, betrayal, rejection, and fear. And you're still here. You're still breathing. That means there's still something inside you that refuses to give up. That's courage. It may not look heroic, but it's powerful. It's what separates those who rise from those who surrender. Courage also means accepting that struggle is not a one-time event. Life will test you over and over again. You'll climb one mountain only to find another waiting. But each time you rise, you become stronger, wiser, and more capable. The same things that once broke you will eventually stop intimidating you. You'll look back and realize that the moments you feared the most were the ones that built your character the deepest. You might not see progress immediately, but every act of courage creates momentum. When you start doing the hard things you've been avoiding, having the uncomfortable conversation, taking responsibility for your mistakes, changing your routine, you start gaining a kind of quiet confidence that can't be faked. You start to trust yourself again, and that trust becomes the foundation for everything else. Facing struggle with courage is not just about survival, it's about transformation. It's the process of becoming someone who can handle more, give more, and be more. Every challenge carries a hidden lesson about who you are and what you can become. When you face your struggles with open eyes, you begin to see that life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. The difficulties you face are the training ground for your strength. Sometimes courage is just refusing to quit. when it would be easier to give up. It's finishing what you started even when nobody notices. It's staying true to your values when compromise would bring temporary comfort. Real courage is not about what you gain, it's about who you become in the process. It's about being proud of the person staring back at you in the mirror, even if that person is still a work in progress. Facing your struggle with courage doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. It means being strong enough to admit that things aren't fine, but still choosing to move forward anyway. It means you cry, but you don't quit. You stumble, but you don't stop. You get tired, but you don't retreat. Every small act of courage compounds into resilience, and resilience turns ordinary people into unstoppable forces. When life knocks you down, the easiest thing to do is to stay there. But the longer you stay down, the harder it becomes to rise. The world doesn't slow down for your pain. Bills won't wait, responsibilities won't pause, and time won't rewind. You have to stand up because nobody else will do it for you. And when you do, something incredible happens. You realize that standing up once gives you the power to do it again and again. Each rise makes you stronger. Each comeback makes you wiser. The hardest part of standing up is the first movement. The mind resists. It tells you it's too late, too hard, too pointless, but those are lies. Your mind fears pain, not growth. Once you take that first step, once you prove to yourself that you can still fight, you break through a wall that has trapped countless others. You separate yourself from the crowd of those who talk about change, but never act. Courage is not a gift given to a few. It's a decision available to everyone. You build it by facing your fears one at a time. You build it by doing what's right, not what's easy. You build it by refusing to give up on yourself even when everything feels hopeless. And slowly, you begin to realize that the version of you who used to panic under pressure is gone. In their place stands someone grounded, focused, and unbreakable. When you're alone and life feels unbearable, remember that strength is built in isolation. When there's no applause, no validation, no support, that's where true growth begins. The world may forget your efforts, but life doesn't. Every time you choose courage over fear, discipline over comfort, effort over excuses, you are rewriting your future in real time. Eventually, you'll notice something change inside you. The things that once terrified you will no longer control you. The uncertainty that used to freeze you will become a space for growth. You'll begin to see that courage isn't something you use once, it becomes a part of who you are. You start carrying it with you everywhere you go, in every decision, every failure, and every success. The truth is, courage doesn't remove pain, it redefines it. What once felt unbearable becomes a challenge. What once made you cry now makes you stronger. When you stand up and face your struggle, life begins to bend in your favor. The same obstacles that once blocked your path become stepping stones toward your growth. That's the quiet reward of courage. It changes the way you see everything. You will have days when courage feels distant. Days when your heart is heavy and your thoughts are dark. But remember this, even on your worst days, showing up is enough. You don't have to move mountains. You just have to keep walking. Progress is built in small, consistent steps, not giant leaps. Every single day that you choose to face your struggle, instead of hiding from it, you are becoming the person your future needs you to be. So today, stand up. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Stand up, because you deserve a better life than the one your fear allows. Stand up, because your future depends on the choices you make right now. Stand up, because even when the world underestimates you, your strength is still growing in silence. Stand up, face your struggle with courage, and watch as life begins to unfold for the version of you that refuses to give up. Chapter 2. Build self-discipline when motivation has completely disappeared. And one day, you'll look back at this chapter of your life, the one where you were broke, tired, and alone, and realize it was the foundation of everything that came after. You'll see that the moment you chose to stand up, even when no one believed in you, was the exact moment your life began to change. Not because the struggle disappeared, but because you learned how to face it with strength, with purpose, and with courage. To build discipline when motivation is gone, you must first accept that feelings can't always be trusted. You might not feel like working out, studying, building your craft, or improving your habits, but your feelings don't decide your future, your actions do. Discipline begins when you stop negotiating with your emotions. It's when you say, "I don't feel like it, but I'll do it anyway." Every time you do that, you strengthen the part of you that can't be broken by laziness, fear, or doubt. When motivation fades, discipline becomes the bridge between who you are and who you want to be. There will be days when you wake up and feel absolutely nothing, no energy, no spark, no excitement to keep going. Those are the days that define your character, because anyone can act when they feel inspired. But only a few keep moving when their heart feels empty. That's the difference between a dreamer and a doer. Motivation is temporary. It's a burst of emotion that comes and goes, like the wind. But discipline is a choice you make over and over again, regardless of how you feel. It's not exciting, it's not glamorous, and most of the time nobody will notice. But it's the quiet force that transforms ordinary people into powerful individuals. When motivation disappears, discipline steps in as your silent partner. It reminds you of your goals when your emotions zone to quit. It keeps you grounded when your mind looks for an escape. Think about how many times you started something with excitement only to stop a few weeks later when that excitement disappeared. That's what happens when motivation is your foundation. It collapses under pressure. But when discipline is your base, you don't stop when you're tired. You stop when you're finished. You don't need to feel inspired. You just need to remember your reason. Why did you start? What are you fighting for? Who are you becoming through this effort? When your why is clear, you can endure any low point. The key to building self-discipline is starting small. Don't aim to change everything overnight. Start with one commitment and keep it. It might be waking up earlier, finishing a workout, saving a little money, or reading a few pages every day. It doesn't matter how small the act is. What matters is that you follow through. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build self-respect, and self-respect fuels discipline. You begin to trust your own word again. That's what creates inner power, the ability to rely on yourself. Discipline is built in moments of discomfort. It grows in silence, in repetition, in the small daily choices nobody sees. It's showing up for yourself again and again, even when the results seem invisible. You don't become disciplined overnight. You earn it through consistency. And the truth is, most people never build discipline because they rely on motivation to push them. But discipline doesn't wait for the right feeling. It builds its own momentum. Once you learn to act without emotion, you become unstoppable. You can't wait for the perfect mindset to take action. You must take action to create the right mindset. Once you begin, momentum builds. The first step is always the hardest, because it demands that you rise above your excuses. But the moment you act, something shifts inside you. You feel the satisfaction of movement, the quiet pride of self-control, the sense that you're shaping your destiny. That feeling doesn't come from motivation, it comes from doing the work even when it's hard. Discipline also means creating systems that make progress inevitable. Motivation depends on mood, but systems depend on structure. For example, instead of saying "I'll work when I feel ready," decide that you'll work at the same time every day no matter what. Instead of hoping for energy, plan your environment so it forces you to act. Remove distractions, prepare what you need the night before, and make your routine so simple that action becomes automatic. Success isn't about intensity, it's about consistency. Small effort done daily always beats big effort done occasionally. There will be days when discipline feels like punishment. You'll want to rest, procrastinate, or escape responsibility. You'll try to justify your inaction with excuses like "I deserve a break" or "I'll start tomorrow." But that's the trap. Every time you give in, you weaken your commitment to yourself. Discipline is not about being hard for the sake of pain. It's about training your mind to obey your goals, not your comfort. Your comfort zone may feel safe, but it's the place where growth quietly dies. Another truth about discipline is that it's not built through perfection, but through persistence. You will fail, you'll miss days, you'll fall short, but discipline means coming back stronger every time. It's forgiving yourself for slipping and returning to the mission without hesitation. It's refusing to let one bad day turn into a bad week. Most people quit because they expect progress to be a straight line. But discipline accepts imperfection as part of growth. It doesn't demand flawless effort. It demands continued effort. When you stop chasing motivation and start building discipline, life becomes simpler. You no longer depend on emotional highs to get things done. You understand that growth requires effort, and effort is rarely pleasant. You begin to appreciate the process instead of chasing quick results. That's where freedom is found, the ability to do what's necessary regardless of how you feel. Discipline gives you control over your life. It separates you from the crowd, because most people are controlled by impulses. Every person who has ever achieved something great has faced moments when they wanted to quit. The difference is that they didn't. They built habits that carried them through their weakest moments. You can do the same. The secret is not doing more, it's doing what matters even when it's boring. Discipline is about doing what you said you would do, long after the excitement of saying it has faded. You'll notice that disciplined people move differently. They don't talk about what they're going to do, they do it. They don't wait for others to push them, they push themselves. They understand that discipline is freedom, the freedom to choose your path instead of being controlled by laziness or emotion. And that's what you're building each time you show up without motivation. You're building freedom. The most powerful version of you doesn't rely on feelings. It relies on principles. Principles like responsibility, consistency, and self-respect. When you live by principles, you can keep moving forward even on the darkest days. You may not always be inspired, but you'll always be in motion. That's what separates those who talk about change from those who create it. Over time, your discipline becomes your identity. You no longer have to force yourself to act because consistency has rewired your mind. What once felt difficult becomes natural. You stop looking for motivation because your standards have changed. You start to feel uncomfortable when you're not growing. That's when you know you've evolved. You've trained your mind to value progress over comfort. If you want to build self-discipline when motivation disappears, focus on small, honest victories. Keep your word. Do what you said you would do. Finish what you start. Stay humble. Avoid shortcuts. And remember that progress is built one decision at a time. Each day that you act without motivation, you prove that your will is stronger than your mood. One day, you'll look back and realize that the times you forced yourself to move forward were the moments that built your foundation. You'll thank yourself for not waiting to feel ready. You'll see that discipline, not motivation, was what changed your life. And from that point on, you'll never fear losing motivation again, because you'll know that even when it disappears, your discipline will carry you. Chapter 3. Take small steps forward even when you feel broken. Progress when broken is different. It's slower, gentler, and often invisible to others, but that's okay. Healing and rebuilding take time. What matters is that you keep inching forward. No matter how small the movement seems, the power of small steps lies in momentum. They keep your spirit alive while your mind repairs itself. One step becomes two, two become three, and soon enough you realize you've traveled farther than you ever thought possible. When life feels unbearable and your heart is heavy with exhaustion, the most powerful thing you can do is take one small step forward. Even when everything inside you screams to stop, to rest, to give up, that single step, no matter how small, keeps your story alive. It's not about moving fast, it's about refusing to stay stuck. Every inch of progress you make while broken carries more strength than a mile walked in comfort. When you're in pain, your world shrinks. The days blend together, your energy fades, and even simple tasks feel impossible. You start to question your worth, your purpose, and your ability to keep going. But the truth is, being broken doesn't mean you're finished. It means you've been stretched, tested, and pushed to the edge, and you're still here. The fact that you're still breathing, still thinking, still trying, is proof that you haven't surrendered. That's what strength really looks like. It's quiet, hidden beneath the exhaustion, waiting for you to move again. When you feel broken, the biggest mistake is waiting until you feel whole again before you move. If you wait for the perfect moment, you'll wait forever. Growth doesn't begin after the pain ends. It begins in the middle of it. Taking small steps in your weakest moments is what rebuilds your strength. You may not see it now, but every tiny action is shaping the person you're becoming. The strength you're searching for isn't found in waiting, it's found in movement. You have to stop comparing your journey to others. People heal at different speeds. Some rise quickly, others take longer. That doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human. Strength is not measured by how fast you recover. It's measured by how consistently you move, even when it hurts. When you look at someone thriving, don't envy their pace. Instead, focus on the ground in front of you and keep moving forward. One deliberate step at a time. Start where you are, not where you wish you were. You don't have to run, conquer, or fix everything at once. Just stand up, breathe deeply, and move 1 inch closer to something that matters. That might mean washing a few dishes, going for a short walk, making a phone call, or writing down your thoughts. These may seem meaningless, but they are not. Each act is a declaration that your spirit is still alive. You're telling life, I'm still fighting, and that's how you rebuild moment by moment, piece by piece. Sometimes, small steps don't feel like progress at all. You might not notice change right away, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. Think of it like planting a seed. You don't see the roots growing underground, but they are. Every small effort you make, every morning you choose to get up, every moment you try again, is strengthening your foundation. Growth is quiet before it becomes visible. Stay patient long enough to let your small steps show their power. When you're broken, your mind often tries to convince you that moving forward is pointless. It whispers that you've already lost too much, that things will never get better. But those are the lies of exhaustion, not truth. The truth is, you can rebuild from anywhere, as long as you refuse to stop. The smallest effort done with sincerity is stronger than all the hopeless thoughts combined. You might not be able to see the destination right now, but that doesn't mean it's gone. You're still on the road, you're just walking through a darker stretch. There's something profoundly noble about those who move through life's storms at a slow pace. Not because they lack strength, but because they're carrying invisible battles. When your soul feels heavy, when pain presses against every breath, moving even slightly forward is an act of courage. You might not get recognition for it, but that's fine. This kind of progress isn't for show. It's personal. It's sacred. It's the kind that builds unshakable resilience. Taking small steps also means forgiving yourself for not being where you thought you'd be. When life breaks you, it interrupts your plans, derails your timelines, and forces you to start again. It's easy to feel like you've failed, but rebuilding takes humility. You can't rush healing. You can't sprint through pain. You have to accept that slow progress is still progress. You're still becoming stronger, even when it doesn't feel like it. One of the hardest parts of feeling broken is believing that your efforts no longer matter. But even the smallest steps count, because they're proof that your spirit hasn't been defeated. Think of every small act as a vote for the person you want to become. Each one says, "I refuse to give up." Over time, those small votes accumulate and reshape your entire identity. You start to see yourself not as a victim of pain, but as a survivor of it. Discipline matters here. When your emotions are unstable, consistency becomes your anchor. Make a small routine you can follow even on bad days. It could be as simple as drinking water in the morning, stretching for 5 minutes, or writing down one thing you're grateful for. These actions may look insignificant, but they hold power. They remind you that even in chaos, you still have control over something. That control brings peace, and peace allows movement. Small steps also teach you patience. When everything hurts, your instinct is to want it over fast. But growth through pain is slow and deliberate. Every day you move, you're building endurance that will stay with you for life. The patience you learn through slow progress becomes one of your greatest strengths. It gives you perspective and maturity. It teaches you that not all victories are loud. Some are quiet, personal, and invisible to everyone but you. There will be days when progress feels impossible. You might wake up with no strength at all. On those days, make your step even smaller. Sit up, drink water, take a shower, step outside for a few minutes of air. These are not signs of weakness, they are signs of endurance. Every time you move, even slightly, you are teaching your mind that pain doesn't control you. That's how you reclaim your power. You can't rebuild your life by thinking about how broken you are. You rebuild it by acting, one step at a time. Thinking keeps you trapped. Action sets you free. You may not fix everything right away, but the more you move, the clearer your path becomes. Clarity comes through movement, not waiting. Every time you take a step, life responds. It may not give you everything at once, but it always rewards persistence. One day, you'll look back and realize that those slow, painful steps you took while broken were the most powerful movements of your entire journey. You'll see that those moments built your strength, your patience, and your wisdom. You'll understand that progress doesn't require perfection, it just requires movement. And you'll be proud, not because you moved fast, but because you never stopped moving. Over time, those tiny steps begin to form a pattern. You start to see small victories, better days, lighter thoughts, a hint of peace returning. You realize that you've been healing all along, not in big leaps, but through consistent motion. That's how strength rebuilds itself quietly, without you even noticing. Even in your lowest moments, remind yourself that moving slowly is better than standing still. You're not racing anyone. You're rebuilding a life that's meant to last. The path to recovery isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. You're allowed to cry, rest, and stumble, but don't stop, because every time you rise again, even if it's only by an inch, You're proving that your spirit is greater than your pain. Chapter 4. Focus on progress instead of waiting for perfect conditions. Many people delay their dreams because they believe they're not ready. They say they'll start when they have more time, more confidence, more knowledge, or more money. But those excuses are endless. Life never gives you a perfect starting point. There's always something missing, something not in your favor. If you want to grow, you have to move before you're ready. Action comes first. Clarity comes later. Every person who built something meaningful began in uncertainty. They didn't wait for perfection. They built through flaws, failures, and fears. Waiting for perfect conditions is the greatest lie that steals people's potential. If you keep waiting for the right moment, the right mood, or the right setup, you'll wait for the rest of your life. Progress doesn't happen when everything aligns. It happens when you start where you are, with what you have, and do what you can. The world doesn't reward those who wait for ideal circumstances. It rewards those who create progress out of imperfection. The truth is, perfection doesn't exist in the real world. What exists is consistent effort, even when things are messy, uncertain, or uncomfortable. Perfection is a disguise for fear. People use it to hide their doubt and protect their ego. They're afraid of failing, of being judged, of not measuring up. So they convince themselves that waiting is smart, but waiting too long kills momentum. You don't learn by thinking, you learn by doing. Every mistake teaches something you could never discover from the sidelines. Each small action gives you insight, direction, and resilience. Progress only appears when you take steps, even imperfect ones. You don't need everything figured out to begin. You just need the courage to take the first step and the humility to keep learning as you go. The idea that you must wait for the perfect opportunity is what keeps millions of people stuck in the same place for years. They watch others grow and assume those people had better chances, more support, or more luck. But in truth, those who move forward simply stopped waiting. They acted in uncertainty, they worked in discomfort, and they learned along the way. When you shift your focus from perfection to progress, you unlock freedom. You stop trying to control everything and start focusing on what's within your reach today. Maybe you can't do it all, but you can do something. Maybe you don't have all the resources, but you can start with what you've got. Progress is about movement, not mastery. Each step forward counts, even the clumsy ones. Over time, small, consistent actions compound into massive results. Life is unpredictable. If you keep waiting for stability before acting, you'll never build anything lasting. The people who succeed are not those who had perfect plans, but those who adapted. They adjusted, they learned, and they kept going when things didn't go according to plan. Progress requires flexibility. When conditions change, you change your approach, but you never stop moving. That's how growth happens, through persistence, not perfection. You have to understand that perfection is not the goal. Progress is. If you aim for perfection, you'll hesitate forever. But if you aim for progress, you'll always find a reason to keep going. Even a small improvement every day compounds over time. Think about how much your life could change in 1 year if you committed to daily progress instead of waiting for everything to be ideal. It's not about doing everything, it's about doing something consistently. One of the biggest traps people fall into is comparing their current effort to someone else's finished product. You see others succeeding and think they must have started perfectly. But behind every success is a story of trial, error, and adjustment. They didn't wait for confidence. They built it through repetition. They didn't wait for opportunities. They created them through effort. Progress is never neat or linear. It's a process of trying, failing, learning, and improving again and again. When you focus on progress, you stop needing approval. You're no longer trying to impress anyone. You're focused on being better than you were yesterday. You measure success by growth, not by praise. That mindset builds strength because you're no longer controlled by fear of failure. You accept imperfection as part of the process and move forward regardless. That's where confidence is born, not from flawless execution, but from perseverance. Conditions will rarely favor you. There will always be distractions, limitations, and problems. But real success is built in the middle of imperfection. You don't rise above challenges by avoiding them. You rise by working through them. Every setback you face teaches you how to adapt. Every delay tests your patience and discipline. The people who thrive in life are not the ones who have easy paths, but those who learn how to move in difficulty. Progress doesn't demand that you do everything at once. It just asks you to do something meaningful every day. You can't control outcomes, but you can control your effort. You can't predict results, but you can stay consistent. The person who improves 1% each day will always surpass the one who waits for the perfect moment. Progress is built in daily discipline, not occasional bursts of motivation. Don't let fear of imperfection stop you. Every beginner feels uncertain. Every creator feels self-doubt. Every leader once felt lost. The difference is that they acted through fear. They didn't wait for the fear to disappear. They learned to move with it. That's how you build progress that lasts, by learning to work even when things aren't ideal. Start now, exactly as you are. If your environment isn't perfect, use what you have. If your skills aren't enough, learn as you go. If your path isn't clear, take the next visible step. Life rewards action, not hesitation. You'll make mistakes, you'll get it wrong, but that's part of growth. Progress happens because you keep adjusting, not because you start flawlessly. The reality is, perfection is safe because it keeps you from failing. If you never start, you can never make mistakes. But that safety is an illusion. It keeps you trapped in the same place, unfulfilled and stagnant. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to begin. Momentum grows only when you take action. Even small, imperfect action is more powerful than endless hesitation. The beauty of progress is that it compounds quietly. You might not see the results every day, but they're building behind the scenes. Like a seed growing underground, your daily effort is creating unseen growth that will eventually surface. Every hour spent practicing, every failure you learn from, every challenge you face adds up. Progress doesn't shout, it whispers. But if you stay patient, it will reward you in ways perfection never could. You'll notice that as you begin to move, the conditions you once waited for start to appear. The opportunities you were hoping for begin to find you. That's because life aligns with those who act, not those who wait. The universe responds to momentum. The more you move, the more doors open. Action creates clarity, and clarity creates opportunity. Focusing on progress means valuing effort over outcome. You can't always control how things turn out, but you can always control how you show up. That mindset makes you resilient. It keeps you calm when things go wrong and focused when things go right. It reminds you that perfection is not required to make an impact. You don't need to be the best. You just need to keep improving. Stop waiting for everything to make sense before you move. Stop believing that you need to have it all together. The truth is, nobody does. The most successful people you admire are simply those who started before they felt ready. They embraced imperfection, took action, and learned through experience. You can do the same. The perfect time is not coming. The right moment is the one you create right now. Chapter 5. Learn to depend on yourself when no one helps. So, take a step today. Make progress, not excuses. Use what's available, not what's ideal. Be willing to look foolish in the beginning if it means you'll grow in the end. Because growth isn't about perfection, it's about movement. Every imperfect effort moves you closer to your potential. Every day you act, you build momentum. Every mistake teaches you something new, and eventually you'll look back and realize that progress, not perfection, was the key that changed everything. There comes a point in life when you realize no one is coming to save you. No one is going to push you, motivate you, or fix what's broken inside you. You either rise on your own or you stay where you are. That moment, though painful, is the beginning of real strength. Depending on yourself doesn't mean shutting others out. It means building a foundation so strong that even when the world turns its back, you still stand tall. It's understanding that while support is helpful, survival is your responsibility. When you stop expecting others to carry you, you finally learn how to carry yourself. At first, it feels lonely. You look around and wonder why no one sees how hard you're trying, why no one offers a hand when you're falling apart. But that silence, that absence, it's a test. It's life asking, how badly do you want to rise? Those empty moments teach you to rely on your own voice, your own judgment, your own persistence. You begin to realize that the power to change your life isn't in anyone else's hands, it's in yours. The truth is, people have their own battles. They're not always going to understand yours or have the energy to help. Some will promise support and disappear when you need them most. Others will care but won't know how to help. And some will just watch quietly as you struggle. It's not always out of malice, it's just life. When you learn to accept that, you stop waiting for someone else to rescue you. You stop depending on outside motivation to move forward. You begin to draw your strength from within. And that's when you become unshakable. People often assume strength means never needing anyone, but that's not true. Real strength means knowing you can handle it alone if you must. It means you're not destroyed when people leave. It means you built an inner foundation so stable that even when everything external collapses, you can still move forward. When you rely on yourself, you don't depend on someone else's timing, approval, or help to make progress. You become your own source of energy, direction, and discipline. Depending on yourself is not about pride, it's about survival. It's about refusing to collapse because no one showed up for you. It's about knowing that you can keep going, even when no one cheers you on. You start to build small habits that protect your strength, waking up early even when you don't feel like it, staying disciplined when no one's watching, comforting yourself instead of waiting for others to understand. These are the quiet victories that build character. When no one helps, you learn self-respect. You stop begging for validation and start trusting your own decisions. You stop explaining your pain to those who don't care to understand. You stop lowering your standards just to feel accepted. There's a deep power that comes from realizing you are enough to move forward without applause, without permission, without backup. The more you stand on your own, the more grounded you become. Every time life leaves you on your own, it's giving you a gift in disguise. It's teaching you how capable you truly are. When you handle things by yourself, you discover strength you never knew you had. You begin to trust your instincts more deeply. You learn how to solve problems, how to adapt, how to keep calm under pressure. The moments that break you also build you, if you decide not to give up. Depending on yourself also means taking full responsibility. It means you stop blaming others for where you are and start asking, what can I do next? That question changes everything. It shifts you from victim to creator. You begin to see options where before there were only obstacles. You understand that control doesn't come from demanding help. It comes from taking action. Every small step you take towards self-reliance is a step toward freedom. You can't control who stays or who leaves, but you can control how you respond. You can control your effort, your mindset, your consistency. Those are the tools that carry you when no one else will. When you stop relying on others to keep you going, your power multiplies. You become more focused because you no longer wait for approval. You become more consistent because you no longer depend on praise. You become unstoppable because you no longer fear being alone. The world is filled with people who gave up because they were waiting for help that never came. They waited for someone to believe in them before they believed in themselves. Don't make that mistake. Start where you are, with whatever you have. Build momentum on your own terms. You may start small, but every bit of effort you give yourself adds up. When no one claps for you, clap for yourself. When no one notices your effort, notice it yourself. You owe yourself that recognition. You'll find that as you grow more self-reliant, your relationships improve. You stop approaching people from neediness and start meeting them from strength. You give more freely because you no longer feel empty. You love without expecting to be saved. You support others without losing yourself in the process. People are drawn to that kind of strength. It's calm, steady, and real. Depending on yourself doesn't mean isolating. It means strengthening. You still welcome love, friendship, and connection. But you don't depend on them to define your worth. You appreciate help when it comes, but you're not destroyed when it doesn't. You've built emotional independence, the ability to stay grounded even when everything around you is uncertain. That's the kind of strength that carries you through anything. Self-reliance is built through action, not words. You don't wake up one morning suddenly strong. You become strong through daily decisions. You show up when you're tired. You work when no one sees it. You stay focused when everything seems pointless. That's how you train your mind to trust itself. You begin to realize that even on your worst days, you can rely on your own willpower to carry you. There's a moment when you stop asking, "Why isn't anyone helping me?" and start saying, "I can handle this." That's the turning point. It's the day you reclaim your power. Every time you solve a problem alone, your confidence grows. Every time you push through without waiting for help, your courage strengthens. The more you depend on yourself, the less life can shake you. The truth is, being left alone doesn't mean you're unloved. It means you're being prepared. It means life is forcing you to meet the version of yourself that can stand without leaning on anyone. That version of you is unstoppable. That version doesn't break when things go wrong. That version knows how to rebuild from nothing. That version learns that peace comes not from being surrounded by people but from being secure in who you are. No one can walk your path for you. No one can carry your dreams. You must build them yourself. And while that truth may sting at first, it's also the most empowering realization you'll ever have. Because once you learn to depend on yourself, you become unstoppable. You no longer fear being alone, because you know you can handle it. You no longer wait for things to happen. You make them happen. You no longer seek strength from others. You are the strength. Life will always test you by leaving you on your own at times. Don't see it as abandonment. See it as an invitation to rise. The silence around you is not emptiness. It's space for your own voice to grow louder. It's in those quiet, lonely hours that you discover who you really are. And when you finally learn to depend on yourself, you'll realize you were never truly alone. You were just being guided toward your own power. So when no one helps, help yourself. When no one encourages you, speak to yourself with strength. When no one believes in you, keep building until your results speak louder than words. When no one checks on you, check in with your own goals, your own growth, your own progress. You don't need constant reassurance. You need consistent effort. The day you stop depending on others for energy is the day you take full control of your future. Chapter 6. Turn your pain into energy that drives your growth. Pain is not your enemy. It is your greatest source of power waiting to be used. Every wound, every disappointment, every heartbreak you've endured carries a form of energy that can either destroy you or rebuild you stronger than before. The difference lies in how you choose to respond. Some people let pain close their hearts, while others let it open their minds. Some surrender to their suffering, while others shape it into discipline, focus, and drive. The truth is, pain can either consume you or transform you, and that choice belongs to you alone. Growth rarely comes from comfort. It's the moments that hurt the most that teach you the most. Pain is a mirror. It reflects where you need healing, where you've been careless with yourself, and where you've relied too heavily on things outside your control. Instead of running from it, you must learn to face it and ask, what can I learn from this? That single question changes the direction of your life. It shifts you from victim to student, from broken to rebuilding, from lost to learning. When you channel your pain correctly, it becomes fuel. The anger that once made you bitter can make you determined. The sadness that once drained your energy can deepen your empathy and awareness. The disappointment that once crushed your spirit can sharpen your vision for the future. Every emotion you feel carries energy. What matters is how you direct it. Instead of wasting that energy complaining or blaming, use it to strengthen your focus, to work harder, to set clearer goals. Think of every painful experience as a form of resistance training for your mind. Just as your muscles grow when pushed beyond their limits, your character grows when life pushes you past what you thought you could handle. When you go through suffering and still choose to stand, you prove to yourself that your strength is real. The more you push through, the more resilient you become. Pain builds a kind of endurance that nothing else can teach. There's a hidden opportunity inside every difficult moment. When you're hurt, your emotions are raw and alive. That intensity, if not controlled, can destroy your peace, but if directed with purpose, it becomes unmatched drive. Use that energy to rebuild your life. Let your heartbreak motivate you to love yourself better. Let your rejection motivate you to improve your craft. Let your failure motivate you to prepare harder and come back stronger. Pain can burn you, or it can ignite you. The outcome depends on your mindset. Most people waste their pain because they dwell on what they lost, instead of focusing on what they can build. They replay events in their heads, hoping the past will change. But the past won't heal by being remembered. It heals by being repurposed. You can't erase what happened, but you can decide what it will mean for you. You can make your pain a story of defeat or a story of rebirth. You can use it as proof that life broke you, or proof that you refuse to stay broken. The choice defines your growth. To turn pain into energy, you must first stop fighting it. Resistance to pain makes it heavier. When you deny it, avoid it, or numb it, it doesn't disappear, it only hides until it finds another way to control you. But when you accept it, you disarm it. Acceptance is not surrender, it's awareness. It's looking at your pain and saying, this is what I feel, but it will not define what I become. That acceptance frees your mind to focus on growth instead of grief. Transforming pain also requires patience. Growth is not instant. The process of healing takes time, and it often hurts even more before it gets better. But that's part of transformation, breaking patterns, confronting fears, and rebuilding habits that serve your future instead of your past. Every time you take a step toward rebuilding, you're teaching your mind that pain doesn't control you, you control what it becomes. That lesson alone changes everything. You may not realize it yet, but some of your greatest strengths were born in moments of deep suffering. The empathy you now have came from knowing what it feels like to be misunderstood. The courage you now show came from facing fear and uncertainty. The patience you've built came from waiting when everything felt hopeless. Pain gives you qualities that comfort never could. It deepens you, matures you, and makes you capable of seeing the world through wiser eyes. If you want to grow, stop asking for life to be easier. Ask for the strength to handle it better. Ask for the wisdom to turn setbacks into lessons. Ask for the clarity to see how this struggle can shape your character. Every difficult experience is an opportunity to practice resilience. Instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What now?" That shift takes you out of emotional paralysis and moves you into purpose-driven action. Practical growth begins when you use your pain to fuel your discipline. When you feel empty, use that emptiness to create structure. When you feel defeated, use that feeling to plan your next move. When you feel unmotivated, remind yourself that consistency is stronger than emotion. Build daily habits that keep your energy directed forward. Exercise, read, learn, work on your craft. Don't wait for inspiration. Let your pain become the reason you stay consistent. The more you build, the less control pain has over you. There will be days when your pain feels unbearable, when you question whether it's worth continuing. Those are the days that matter most. It's easy to stay focused when life is smooth, but real progress happens when you keep moving despite the storm. Every time you choose to keep going instead of giving in, you reclaim a piece of your power. That's how transformation works. One painful choice at a time, one strong moment after another. Turning pain into energy also means forgiving yourself. You can't grow if you're constantly punishing yourself for past mistakes. Let go of the guilt, the shame, and the self-blame. Every wrong decision was a lesson. Every regret was an awakening. Use them as reminders of how far you've come, not as chains that hold you back. Forgiveness isn't forgetting, it's freedom. It allows you to redirect your mental and emotional energy toward what truly matters, your progress. You must also learn to let your pain refine you, not harden you. Don't close your heart because it was once broken. Don't stop trying because you once failed. The goal isn't to become cold, it's to become composed. The goal isn't to stop feeling, it's to feel deeply without being destroyed by emotion. Pain is meant to teach, not imprison. When you learn the lesson, you outgrow the suffering. Every challenge, every heartbreak, every loss is an invitation to rise higher. You are not a product of your pain, you are a product of what you choose to do with it. You can turn your suffering into strength, your sadness into focus, your fear into determination. That's how growth happens, not in the absence of pain, but in the mastery of it. So, when life tests you, don't run from the discomfort. Lean into it, use it, let it sharpen your focus, deepen your understanding, and strengthen your resolve. Let it remind you that your story isn't over, it's being rewritten. You have the power to turn everything that hurt you into the energy that rebuilds you. In time, you'll look back and realize that the pain that once seemed unbearable was actually your turning point. It forced you to grow, to evolve, to rise beyond who you used to be. You'll see that every wound carried wisdom, every setback carried a lesson, and every loss carried a seed of something greater. That is the beauty of transformation. It doesn't erase your pain, it turns it into purpose. The pain you feel today is not punishment, it's preparation. It's shaping you into someone more disciplined, more focused, and more grounded. Don't waste it. Channel it. Let it fuel your persistence, your ambition, and your growth. Because when you finally learn to turn your pain into energy, you no longer just survive. You begin to create a life built on strength, resilience, and unstoppable progress. Chapter 7. Stay consistent with your goals even when exhausted. The real test of commitment begins when your body aches, your mind resists, and everything in you whispers to stop. Anyone can stay consistent when energy is high and progress is visible, but true strength is proven when you keep going despite exhaustion, despite frustration, despite the feeling that your efforts aren't making a difference. That's where real discipline is born, in the quiet, uncomfortable moments when quitting feels easier than continuing. Staying consistent while tired is not about perfection, it's about persistence. It's about choosing to show up, not because it's easy, but because your future depends on it. Every goal you set will eventually reach a point where the excitement fades. At first, there's motivation, a sense of purpose, a burst of energy that makes you feel unstoppable. But over time, that spark fades. The work becomes routine, progress slows, and your emotions begin to shift. That's when most people stop. They confuse fatigue with failure, thinking their tiredness means they're not cut out for it. But exhaustion is not a signal to quit. It's proof that you're in the process of growth. Progress is supposed to be tiring. It's the cost of transforming potential into reality. Consistency is not about feeling ready every day. It's about building habits that move you forward even when your mind doesn't want to cooperate. The strongest people in the world don't rely on motivation, they rely on systems. They have routines that protect their progress when their emotions fade. They understand that progress isn't made in bursts, it's built in repetition. One more workout, one more page, one more hour of focused effort. These small moments compound into results that others call luck. When you're exhausted, remember why you started. Remind yourself of the reasons that lit the fire inside you. Think about the version of yourself you're becoming through this struggle, the one who refuses to give up when it's hard. That version of you is shaped in fatigue, in discomfort, in moments when your body says no but your spirit says yes. Each time you push through that feeling, you're proving to yourself that you are stronger than your temporary emotions. There's a quiet power in showing up even when you don't feel like it. Those days when you drag yourself forward despite everything inside you resisting, those are the days that separate average effort from unstoppable dedication. You won't always see the results right away, but that doesn't mean progress isn't happening. Consistency works in silence. It builds strength where no one can see it, and one day that unseen effort becomes visible success. When fatigue sets in, don't focus on how far you still have to go. Focus on the next small step. You don't need to conquer the mountain all at once. You just need to take the next step in front of you. Break the work down into simple, manageable pieces. When your energy is low, simplify your process. You might not be able to give 100% every day, but you can give something even on your hardest days. Doing a little keeps your momentum alive. And momentum, not motivation, is what keeps you moving forward. Sometimes exhaustion comes not from physical effort, but from mental overload. You get tired of thinking, tired of worrying, tired of comparing yourself to others. That mental fatigue can be heavier than any physical burden. When it happens, pause, but don't stop. Rest your mind, not your mission. Take time to breathe, reset your thoughts, and return with clarity. Consistency doesn't mean working without rest. It means refusing to let rest turn into retreat. There will be moments when your progress feels invisible. You'll work hard and see little return. Those are the moments that build character. That's when you're learning to trust the process, even when results are not immediate. Every great achievement has a period where nothing seems to be working, but the truth is, growth happens beneath the surface. What looks like stillness is often preparation. Keep showing up, keep doing the work. The results will reveal themselves when the foundation is strong enough to hold them. Staying consistent while exhausted also means learning to manage your energy wisely. You can't give your best if you're constantly running on empty. Take care of your body, your sleep, your nutrition, your mental space. Discipline doesn't mean self-destruction. It means intelligent endurance. There's a difference between quitting and recovering. Rest with purpose, not guilt. Use it to recharge so you can return stronger, not to escape the work entirely. You must also guard your focus. Exhaustion can make your mind vulnerable to distractions and negativity. When you're tired, it's easy to believe the lies your doubts whisper. You're not getting anywhere, it's too hard, it's not worth it. That's when you need to silence the noise and return to your mission. Recommit to your vision, not your feelings. Feelings fluctuate, but purpose remains. Anchor yourself in the reason you began, and your focus will cut through the fatigue. The truth is, success doesn't require constant energy, it requires constant commitment. Even when you're tired, you can still choose discipline. Even when motivation is gone, you can still choose progress. The small choices you make in exhaustion define the strength of your future. You don't become great by doing big things occasionally. You become great by doing the right things consistently, even when you don't feel powerful. When you push through exhaustion, something changes inside you. You start to build faith in your ability to endure. You start to respect yourself more because you see that you can rely on your own willpower. That self-respect is fuel. It gives you confidence that you can face anything. Every time you overcome fatigue, you expand your limits. You stop fearing hard work because you've proven that you can survive it. But staying consistent doesn't mean moving at the same speed every day. It means refusing to give up completely. Some days you'll sprint. Other days you'll crawl. Both count. What matters is that you never stop showing up for your own future. Consistency isn't about being perfect. It's about refusing to disappear. It's about doing something, no matter how small, to honor your commitment to your goals. You'll notice something powerful once you master consistency through exhaustion. What used to feel impossible becomes routine. Your threshold for effort expands. What used to break you becomes the new normal. That's the essence of growth. Not sudden leaps, but gradual strengthening through repetition and persistence. Over time, the exhaustion that once discouraged you becomes a familiar signal that you're progressing. Remember, your mind will always quit before your body does. Most of the time, it's not true exhaustion, it's resistance. Your brain wants comfort, your emotions want rest, but your purpose demands movement. The moment you recognize that your fatigue is often just your mind's way of avoiding discomfort, you regain control. You stop negotiating with your excuses and start leading yourself with discipline. The journey will always test your endurance. Life will throw distractions, disappointments, and delays your way. But if you remain consistent through it all, you become unstoppable. You don't wait for perfect circumstances. You build results out of imperfect effort. You don't rely on bursts of motivation. You create power through routine. You don't depend on feeling ready. You act because your commitment is stronger than your feelings. Staying consistent when exhausted is not about ignoring your limits. It's about expanding them. It's learning to operate through fatigue with awareness and determination. It's understanding that progress is often uncomfortable but always worth it. Every act of consistency is a declaration that you refuse to let weakness win. Every small effort reinforces your identity as someone who follows through no matter what. So when you feel tired, remember that exhaustion is temporary, but growth is permanent. The pain of pushing through today will become the pride you feel tomorrow. Every step you take, even the smallest one, keeps you aligned with your vision. Your dreams are built on these quiet, unseen moments of persistence. Don't wait for the energy to return. Act until it does. Because in the end, success doesn't come to those who feel ready. It comes to those who stay consistent, even when they don't. Chapter 8. Find strength in quiet moments of complete loneliness. There will come a time when you'll find yourself sitting alone, surrounded by silence, and you'll realize that no one is coming to save you. That realization can either break you or awaken you. The moments of complete loneliness that feel unbearable are often the ones that shape your greatest inner power. When the noise fades, when no one is watching, and when you have nothing left to distract you, that's when you finally meet yourself. It's uncomfortable at first, even painful, because you can't hide behind other people's voices or validation anymore. But if you stay in that silence long enough, you'll find something powerful growing inside you, clarity, strength, and peace that no one can take away. Most people run from loneliness because it forces them to face their truth. They fill their days with noise, conversations, screens, distractions, anything to avoid that quiet confrontation with themselves. But the truth is, silence is not your enemy, it's your mirror. In those quiet hours, you begin to hear your real thoughts, your real fears, your real dreams. You learn what truly matters and what doesn't. You start to understand that being alone doesn't mean being empty. It means being available to rebuild yourself from within. There's a difference between isolation and solitude. Isolation is when loneliness controls you. Solitude is when you control loneliness. When you use those quiet moments, not to dwell on what you've lost, but to strengthen what you still have, you turn loneliness into power. You start to realize that peace isn't found in company, it's found in alignment. The strength you discover in solitude is not loud or boastful. It's calm, steady, and unshakable. It's the kind of strength that helps you stand tall when everything around you falls apart. The world often teaches you that you need people to feel complete, that your worth is defined by connection and attention. But if your strength depends on others, it's not real strength, it's dependency. The strongest souls are those who've learned to stand firm in silence, to find comfort in their own presence, and to trust their inner voice even when no one else understands it. Being alone teaches you emotional independence, the ability to feel whole without constant reassurance. Once you build that, you'll never again fear losing anyone, because you'll know you'll never lose yourself. In moments of deep loneliness, your emotions become louder. Old regrets surface, fears grow heavier, and doubts begin to whisper. It's natural to feel that pain. It's a sign that your heart is asking to be healed. But instead of resisting it, listen to it. Pain is not punishment. It's information. It's your mind and soul pointing toward what needs your attention. When you face your loneliness with honesty, you stop running from your emotions and start understanding them. That understanding becomes your power. The quiet moments are where transformation begins. When you have no one to lean on, you learn how to lean on faith, on purpose, on inner discipline. You learn to rely on something deeper than comfort, your inner strength. You discover that you can sit in silence and still feel strong, that you can walk alone and still feel guided, that you can have nothing and still feel full. Those lessons can't be learned through noise or distraction. They're earned through solitude. Don't be afraid of your own company. Use that time to rebuild your connection with yourself. Ask yourself who you are, without the roles, without the titles, without the people you've attached your identity to. Ask yourself what kind of person you want to be when no one is watching. Those answers come slowly, but they come with power, because once you know yourself deeply, you stop seeking validation, you stop chasing approval, you stop sobbing to please others, you start living from a place of truth. Loneliness also reveals the difference between needing love and depending on it. You start to understand that love should add to your life, not define it. When you find strength alone, you become capable of deeper love. Love that's not rooted in fear or need, but in choice. You no longer cling to people out of emptiness. You choose them from abundance. That shift changes everything. You no longer fear being left because you know you can stand on your own. You will notice that when you learn to be comfortable in silence, your focus sharpens. You begin to hear your intuition more clearly. You stop reacting to every emotion and start observing them. That's emotional maturity, the ability to sit with your feelings without being controlled by them. Loneliness teaches that. It trains your mind to be still, your heart to be patient, and your soul to be self-reliant. The greatest clarity often comes when you stop trying to fill the silence. When you let the stillness speak, it will guide you toward what truly matters. You might realize you've been chasing things that don't fulfill you, or holding on to people who don't value you. You might discover a dream you buried long ago, or an inner strength you never knew existed. That discovery can only happen when you stop running and start listening. In loneliness, you also learn the value of peace over chaos. You realize that being alone is far better than being surrounded by people who drain your energy or disrespect your worth. You stop settling for company that costs your peace. You learn that it's okay to protect your energy, to say no, to distance yourself from anything that makes you lose yourself. That kind of strength is quiet, but it's the foundation of a powerful life. There's beauty in solitude that only those who've experienced deep loneliness can understand. It's the beauty of self-awareness, the serenity of independence, the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you can face life alone if you must. That doesn't mean you stop valuing relationships. It means you stop depending on them for your sense of self. You learn to walk beside others, not behind them, and not in their shadow. If you ever find yourself in a moment where it feels like no one cares, remember that those moments are not the end. They're preparation. They're refining you. They're teaching you resilience that no crowd can give. When you rise from loneliness, you rise with a level of inner peace that can't be shaken by rejection, loss, or change. You become unbreakable because you've learned how to build yourself from silence. Use those quiet moments as a time for reflection and growth. Instead of drowning in the feeling of emptiness, turn inward. Write your thoughts, breathe deeply, reflect on your progress, and recognize your strength. You're not alone because you're forgotten. You're alone because you're being rebuilt. Solitude is the training ground of the soul. It teaches you to trust yourself, to understand your emotions, and to find peace without noise. Over time, you'll notice that the loneliness that once hurt begins to feel lighter. You'll no longer fear being by yourself because you've learned that you are enough. You'll begin to enjoy the stillness that once felt unbearable. That's how transformation happens. Not overnight, but gradually as you stop fighting your solitude and start embracing it. When you find strength in loneliness, you stop waiting for people to fix your life. You take responsibility. You start acting from purpose, not need. You stop begging for attention and start creating your own fulfillment. You become the person you once needed. That's the ultimate freedom, to know that no matter what happens, you can stand on your own 2 feet, calm, grounded, and whole. The truth is, some of the most powerful breakthroughs in life come from silence. when no one else understands you, when you feel forgotten, that's often when you're closest to becoming who you're meant to be. Growth is quiet. Healing is quiet. Real strength doesn't make noise. It's built in solitude, in patience, in faith. So if you're walking through loneliness right now, don't rush through it. Sit with it. Learn from it. Because in that stillness, you'll discover the strongest version of yourself, the one that doesn't crumble in silence, but rises from it stronger, wiser, and at peace. Chapter 9. Create habits that move you forward every single day. Your future isn't shaped by what you do once in a while, it's built by what you do every single day. Every small decision, every repeated action, every quiet routine either pulls you closer to the life you want or keeps you trapped where you are. Most people wait for a big breakthrough, a flash of inspiration, or the perfect moment to start changing. But real transformation never begins with a single grand act. It begins with a habit, a consistent behavior repeated so many times it becomes part of who you are. Habits are the invisible architecture of your life. They determine whether you stay stuck or move forward. Success doesn't depend on luck or talent as much as it depends on what you choose to do daily. You can't control everything about your circumstances, but you can control your habits. You can control how you start your mornings, how you spend your evenings, and how you respond to challenges in between. The small actions you take consistently will always outweigh the rare bursts of motivation that come and go. If you truly want to move forward, stop chasing intensity and start building consistency. Anyone can push hard for a few days, but few have the discipline to stay steady for months or years. That's where the difference is made. The people who change their lives don't rely on willpower. They build systems. They make success automatic by turning the right actions into daily habits. When you stop depending on how you feel and start depending on your routine, progress becomes inevitable. Start with one simple habit, something small enough that you can't find an excuse to skip it. It might be waking up 10 minutes earlier to plan your day. It might be reading 5 pages of a book. It might be doing a short walk after meals. What matters is not the size of the action, but the consistency. The more often you repeat a behavior, the less mental effort it takes. It becomes automatic. And when the right habits become automatic, your growth becomes unstoppable. The secret to success isn't doing everything perfectly, it's doing the right things repeatedly. Every day is a chance to move 1 inch forward. And while an inch might not seem like much, those inches add up. Over time they become miles. The person who moves 1 inch forward every day will always surpass the person who moves a mile once a year. So focus on small, meaningful actions you can sustain. You don't need to change your life overnight. You just need to get a little better every day. Habits are powerful because they compound. Just as bad habits quietly destroy your potential, good habits quietly build it. Think about what would happen if you practiced patience a little more each day, saved a small amount of money each week, exercised for a few minutes every morning, or spoke kindly to yourself every night. None of these actions feel life-changing in the moment, but over time they reshape who you are. They build momentum, discipline, and confidence. They make improvement your normal state of being. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing they need to feel ready before they start. Waiting for motivation is another form of procrastination. You'll never feel fully ready, but you can choose to begin anyway. The truth is, action creates motivation, not the other way around. Once you take that first step, your energy shifts. Your mind begins to recognize that you're capable of more than you thought. And each time you follow through, your self-trust grows stronger. That trust is what turns effort into habit, and habit into progress. The most successful people in any field share one common trait: Discipline. They've learned how to show up even when they don't want to. They've trained their minds to do what's necessary instead of what's easy. They understand that emotion is temporary, but discipline is permanent. When you build strong habits, you don't have to negotiate with yourself every day. You eliminate the debate between should I and shouldn't I. You just do it because it's who you are now. Building habits that move you forward also means breaking the ones that hold you back. Every time you repeat a behavior that doesn't serve your goals, you reinforce the identity that keeps you stuck. The key to change is awareness. Start paying attention to your automatic behaviors, what you do when you're tired, bored, or stressed. Those are the moments that shape your life more than you realize. Once you notice your patterns, you can replace the harmful ones with habits that serve your growth. To make a habit stick, you must make it easy to start and hard to avoid. Set up your environment to support your goals. If you want to eat healthier, keep nutritious food visible and remove the junk. If you want to exercise, keep your workout gear ready. If you want to learn daily, keep a book by your bed. Your environment is stronger than your willpower, so design it to make the right choice the natural one. Success is built not on force, but on structure. Another key to sustaining habits is tracking your progress. It's not about perfection, it's about awareness. Each time you complete a small action, acknowledge it. Write it down, celebrate it. That small acknowledgement reinforces your identity as someone who follows through. Over time, you stop trying to become disciplined. You simply become the person who doesn't quit. Tracking reminds you that every day counts, that you're building something real even when results aren't visible yet. Understand that your habits reflect your values. If you say you want to grow, but your daily actions show neglect, you're lying to yourself. Every choice you make either honors your future or betrays it. Discipline means staying loyal to your vision even when your mood changes. It's choosing long-term peace over short-term comfort. The habits that move you forward aren't always exciting. They're often repetitive, quiet, and unglamorous. But they build the foundation that success stands on. You must also learn patience. Habits take time to form. Progress is slow and invisible at first. You won't feel the transformation immediately, but that's how it works. The first few weeks test your commitment, not your ability. The results will come, but only if you keep showing up when it feels pointless. Every repetition is a seed planted. Every small effort is an investment in the future you're creating. Don't dig up the seed just because you haven't seen the tree yet. There will be days when you want to give up, when your mind says it's not worth it. That's the test every strong person faces. In those moments, don't chase perfection. Just keep the streak alive. Even doing the bare minimum keeps your momentum. Consistency matters more than intensity. When you refuse to break your habit chain, you train your mind to persist through discomfort. That resilience will serve you in every area of life. Habits are also deeply connected to identity. Every time you follow through, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. If you read every morning, you're becoming a learner. If you exercise daily, you're becoming disciplined. If you save money, you're becoming responsible. Change isn't about achieving a goal once, it's about becoming the kind of person who lives that goal naturally. Your habits are the bridge between who you are and who you want to be. Don't underestimate the power of small beginnings. One small action done daily can change the entire course of your life. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing something every day that moves you forward. Over time, your habits will carry you further than motivation ever could. You'll notice that what once felt like effort becomes second nature. That's when you know you've built real discipline, when growth no longer requires constant struggle, just quiet persistence. So build your life around strong, simple habits. Guard them fiercely. Protect the routines that make you better. Don't wait for the perfect mood, time, or opportunity. Those are illusions. The only thing that's real is the action you take today. Every small effort counts. Every repetition matters, and every step forward, no matter how small, is progress. The person you become tomorrow depends on what you practice today. Keep moving, keep building, and keep showing up. Because when your habits align with your purpose, every single day becomes a step toward greatness. Chapter 10. Accept your reality and start improving it right now. The turning point of your life begins the moment you stop wishing things were different and start facing things as they are. You can't rebuild your life on denial. You can't grow while pretending you're somewhere else. Real power begins with acceptance, looking your situation straight in the eye, no matter how painful, and saying, "This is where I am, but this is not where I'll stay." Too many people spend their lives fighting reality, arguing with their circumstances, blaming others, or waiting for conditions to change before they take action. But life doesn't bend to your comfort. It responds to your honesty. The moment you stop resisting the truth, you gain the ability to change it. Acceptance is not weakness. It's clarity. It's not giving up. It's waking up. When you accept your current reality, you stop wasting energy on illusion and start investing it in improvement. Denial drains strength. Truth restores it. The sooner you face your situation, the sooner you can do something about it. Whether you're struggling financially, emotionally, or mentally, pretending it's not happening only delays your progress. Acceptance turns confusion into direction. It takes courage to admit the truth, but it's the only foundation strong enough to build a better future. Most people live in two worlds, the world they wish they had and the one they actually live in. They spend years stuck between regret for the past and hope for a miracle in the future, while doing little to change the present. But the present moment is where your power lives. It's the only place where you can act, decide, and create. You can't rewrite yesterday, and you can't skip ahead to tomorrow, but you can shape today. When you bring your full attention to this exact moment, you stop feeling like a victim and start feeling like a participant in your own life. If your life is not where you want it to be, face that fact fully. Stop dressing it up. Stop making excuses for it. Stop telling yourself stories to make it easier. Honesty hurts at first, but it heals faster than avoidance. It gives you something solid to stand on. You can't build a strong house on a cracked foundation, and you can't build a better life on self-deception. So take inventory of where you are. Look at your finances, your habits, your relationships, your mindset without judgment, just truth. The goal is not to punish yourself, but to understand yourself. Awareness is the beginning of transformation. Once you see your reality clearly, you can start improving it, and improvement doesn't start with huge, dramatic changes. It begins with small, consistent ones. Every day is an opportunity to move a little closer to the life you want. The trap many people fall into is waiting for the perfect time. They tell themselves they'll start when things calm down, when they have more money, when they feel more confident, or when someone else supports them. But that perfect time never comes. The only time that's real is now. You can't wait for ideal conditions to fix your life. You must work with what you have and make it better day by day. Accepting your reality also means taking responsibility for it. Even if life has treated you unfairly, you still have a choice in how you respond. Responsibility doesn't mean everything is your fault. It means you recognize that the next move is yours. The moment you take ownership of your situation, you take back your power. Blame keeps you powerless. Responsibility makes you powerful. As long as you point fingers outward, you hand over control. But when you look inward and ask, "What can I do right now to improve this?" you become unstoppable. The truth is, your current situation is not a life sentence. It's a snapshot. It's where you are, not who you are. What defines you is not your circumstance, but your response to it. Some of the strongest people alive started from the lowest places. What they shared in common wasn't luck. It was the refusal to stay stuck. They didn't waste years resenting their reality. They accepted it, worked with it, and turned it into something better. That mindset is available to you too. It's built one decision at a time, one honest step after another. There's freedom in acceptance. When you stop fighting what is, you free yourself from mental chaos. You stop comparing your path to others. You stop chasing the illusion that happiness only exists elsewhere. You begin to see opportunities in the very place you once felt trapped. You start noticing small wins, small improvements, small blessings. That shift in focus creates momentum. It turns despair into direction. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin asking, "What can I build from this?" And that single question changes everything. To accept your reality doesn't mean to settle for it. It means to face it with the full awareness that it can change. Acceptance is the starting point, not the destination. You can acknowledge that life is difficult without letting it defeat you. You can admit that you've made mistakes without being defined by them. You can recognize that you're behind without giving up on catching up. The key is to face the facts with calm strength, not with panic or self-pity. Life rewards those who respond with action, not excuses. Improvement begins when you take one concrete step forward. If you're in debt, start tracking every dollar. If you're unhealthy, take a short walk. If your relationships are broken, start communicating honestly. If your mind is full of negativity, feed it better thoughts. It doesn't matter where you start. What matters is that you start. You can't move a mountain in a day, but you can move a stone every day. Over time, that movement creates change. It's not speed that builds progress, it's direction and persistence. One of the hardest truths to accept is that no one is coming to save you. The world may care, but it won't carry you. You must carry yourself. That's not a curse, it's a call to rise. When you accept that your life is in your hands, you stop waiting for miracles and start creating them. You stop chasing quick fixes and start building lasting change. It's uncomfortable, but it's liberating. Because once you realize that your growth depends on you, no one can take that power away. You also need to accept the pace of your progress. Change takes time. You won't transform overnight. And that's okay. Every effort counts, even the invisible ones. Every moment you choose to face reality instead of running from it, you're growing stronger. Patience is part of acceptance. It's the understanding that progress is built through persistence, not perfection. You're not failing just because it's hard. You're evolving because it's hard. Every challenge you face with honesty is a step toward mastery. Don't let regret anchor you to the past. The time you've lost, the mistakes you've made, they're already done. The only thing you control now is what you do with the moment in front of you. The person who learns from failure is not defeated, they're refined. Every setback you've faced has taught you something valuable. Acceptance means looking at those lessons with gratitude instead of shame. It's seeing that even your lowest moments were preparing you for growth. The world won't hand you a better life. You must create it with your own two hands. That creation begins when you stop hiding from the truth and start using it. Your reality, no matter how imperfect, is raw material for change. You can build something beautiful from it if you're willing to take responsibility and act consistently. Improvement doesn't demand perfection, it demands honesty, effort, and faith. Every day you delay acceptance is another day you lose progress. So stop waiting for ideal conditions, stop imagining an easier path, and start where you are. If life feels heavy, don't curse the weight. Build the muscle. If your situation feels unfair, don't dwell on injustice. Grow through it. Every challenge holds a lesson, and every obstacle hides an opportunity. You don't have to like your reality to use it. You just have to face it with courage. At the end of the day, the greatest power you have is your ability to act now. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, now. Acceptance without action is resignation, but acceptance with action is transformation. The world belongs to those who stop running from what is and start shaping what can be. So stand where you are, look at your life with unfiltered honesty, and take one step forward. You don't need everything to change today, you just need to begin. Because once you start improving your reality, even in small ways, momentum builds, confidence grows, and life begins to move in your favor. That's the quiet miracle of acceptance. It doesn't end your struggle, it gives your struggle purpose. Chapter 11. Keep learning new skills that open better opportunities. Every time you decide to learn something new, you give yourself permission to grow beyond who you were yesterday. The moment you open your mind to new skills, you create possibilities that didn't exist before. Life rewards those who keep learning, not because they're the smartest, but because they refuse to remain stuck in the same place. When you stop learning, your world slowly starts to shrink. But when you stay curious, your world expands in every direction. The truth is, the people who seem to have endless opportunities aren't lucky. They've just built themselves into someone ready to receive them. Learning isn't about going back to school or getting a certificate. It's about staying alive inside. It's about refusing to let time dull your sharpness. It's about asking yourself, what can I get better at today, even when no one expects you to? The person who learns constantly is the person who stays relevant, capable, and confident. You don't need to master everything, you just need to keep growing, because when you keep learning, life keeps offering you doors to walk through, doors that most people can't even see. Sometimes, the hardest part about learning is starting again after years of routine. You might feel too old, too late, or too tired to learn something new. But growth doesn't belong to the young, it belongs to the willing. You can begin again at any age, at any stage, and with any background. Every great skill begins with one small step of curiosity. You don't have to know how it ends, you just need the courage to begin. And once you begin, you'll realize how powerful you actually are. The key is to shift your mindset from survival to improvement. Most people stop learning because they think they've learned enough to get by. But getting by and moving forward are not the same. When you decide to learn a new skill, whether it's using technology, managing money, speaking better, or improving your health, you're telling life that you're still moving, still hungry, still growing. That mindset alone separates you from most people who gave up on learning long ago. You'll notice that every new skill you develop gives you more control over your life. When you learn to communicate better, you attract better relationships. When you learn to manage your time, you gain freedom. When you learn about health, you gain years. When you learn how to manage your emotions, you find peace. Each skill compounds, and before you know it, you've built a life that's not just surviving, but improving every single day. Don't wait for life to force you to learn. Learn before you need it, because preparation builds confidence, and confidence opens opportunities. Every person who has built something meaningful has been a student first. They studied, they practiced, and they failed often, but they kept learning until progress became natural. If you want to move forward, Keep yourself in the process of learning. Even small improvements over time change your entire future. Learning is not about perfection. It's about curiosity. The moment you stop being curious, your mind begins to close. So read the book. Watch the tutorial. Take the class. Ask questions. Explore. Every single new thing you learn, even if it seems small, changes the way you think, and the way you think determines the way you live. A mind that keeps learning stays flexible, creative, and strong enough to adapt to anything. That's how you create real security in life, not by fearing change, but by being ready for it. The people who thrive in this world are the ones who stay students forever. They never act like they know everything. They approach life with humility and hunger. They look at challenges as lessons instead of setbacks. When they fail, they ask, "What can I learn from this?" Instead of "Why did this happen to me?" And because of that attitude, they keep finding new opportunities long after others stop trying. That's the secret. You don't have to know everything. You just have to keep learning something. If you feel stuck in your job, learn a skill that makes you valuable. If you feel lost in life, learn something that excites you. If you feel uncertain, learn something that gives you confidence. The answer to stagnation is education, self-education. Not just academic, but personal. Learn how to lead, how to listen, how to stay disciplined, how to manage yourself. Every lesson you apply becomes another piece of strength you carry forward. Some people say, "I don't have time to learn." But the truth is, we all have the same 24 hours. What matters is how you use them. You can spend them scrolling, complaining, or waiting, or you can invest them in building yourself. Even 15 minutes a day of focused learning can transform your future in ways you can't yet imagine. The compound effect of daily improvement is life-changing. You don't notice the difference immediately, but one day you look back and realize how far you've come. The world keeps changing. New technologies appear, industries evolve, and opportunities shift. The only way to stay ready is to keep growing with it. Learning new skills is your insurance against being left behind. It keeps you adaptable in uncertain times. It turns fear into confidence and confusion into clarity. You don't have to chase trends, you just have to build yourself into someone who can thrive no matter what the world looks like tomorrow. And let's be honest, learning can be uncomfortable. It challenges your pride, it humbles you, it reminds you that there's still so much you don't know. But that's a good thing. It means you're alive. Growth always comes with discomfort. But the discomfort of learning is far lighter than the regret of staying the same. You'll never regret investing in your mind, because your mind is the foundation of everything you'll ever create. Sometimes people won't understand why you're learning so much. They'll say you're wasting time or trying too hard. Ignore that. They stopped growing, not you. Keep your focus on progress. Because one day, the same people who doubted you will look at your growth and wonder how you did it. And you'll know it wasn't luck. It was effort. It was the daily decision to keep learning when no one else cared to. Learning transforms not only what you can do, but who you become. Every skill you acquire builds your confidence and strengthens your identity. You begin to see yourself as capable, resourceful, and independent. That belief spills into everything else: your career, your relationships, your mindset. The more you learn, the more you realize that life is not about waiting for chances, but creating them through continuous self-development. So keep going. Read, listen, watch, try, fail, learn again. Don't measure your worth by what you already know. Measure it by your willingness to grow. Every bit of progress you make today prepares you for a better tomorrow. Keep building yourself, because your growth will always be your greatest advantage. The world belongs to the learners, the doers, the ones who never stop improving. You have that power inside you. Use it, and every day will bring you closer to the person you were meant to become. Chapter 12. Replace complaints with daily focused action towards success. Every complaint you make is energy wasted, a moment of power that could have moved you forward, instead being spent on something that changes nothing. The truth is, the world does not owe you fairness, and no one is going to fix your life for you. Complaining is easy because it requires nothing. Taking focused action is hard because it demands everything. Yet the people who achieve success are not the ones who complain the most. They are the ones who act the most, even when life is unfair, even when circumstances are tough. Complaining creates a habit of weakness. Each time you complain, you reinforce the belief that you are a victim of circumstances. You tell your mind that it's powerless, that the solution must come from outside. That thought is a trap, because it saps initiative and slows progress. Success is never found in blaming others or in wishing conditions were better. It's found in the moment you decide to do something. Anything that moves you toward your goal. Energy spent complaining is energy that could have been spent building your future. The shift from complaint to action begins with awareness. Notice every time you catch yourself focusing on what's wrong instead of what can be done. Complaints often disguise themselves as justification, explanations, or venting, but at their core, they are a choice. You always have the choice to redirect that energy. The difference between those who stagnate and those who grow is simple. One reacts with words, the other reacts with work. Words alone do not change reality. Action does. Action doesn't have to be dramatic. Small, deliberate steps are more effective than endless talk. Each day, identify one thing you can do to improve your situation, and do it without hesitation. It could be sending a proposal, making a call, completing a task, learning a skill, or even organizing your space. These small victories accumulate. They create momentum. They transform a life defined by complaints into a life defined by results. Momentum is not built on excuses. It is built on repeated focused action. Complaints often stem from fear or discomfort. We avoid the tasks that scare us, and instead we justify avoidance by pointing out how unfair or difficult life is. That habit must be broken. Fear is temporary, regret is lasting. Every time you choose action over complaint, you strengthen your courage. You show yourself that obstacles exist to be overcome, not to be lamented. Your mind begins to associate effort with control instead of stress, and that subtle shift changes everything about how you approach life. Success requires precision in how you spend your energy. Complaining scatters energy and focuses it on things outside your control. Action concentrates energy and directs it toward things within your control. Every effort you make, every step taken with intention, builds leverage over your circumstances. Even when conditions are difficult, focused action ensures that progress is inevitable. You may not control outcomes immediately, but consistent effort creates an environment where outcomes are far more likely to be in your favor. Replace complaints with planning. Every time a negative thought arises, transform it into a specific task you can execute. If you feel stuck financially, list the next steps you can take to improve your income. If your health is suffering, outline the steps for a single day of better habits. If relationships are strained, choose one way to improve communication today. Complaints remove responsibility. Plans reclaim it. Action turns thought into reality, while words alone leave nothing changed. Discipline is required to make this shift permanent. It's easy to feel frustrated and return to complaining because it's comfortable. Changing this pattern requires daily effort, repetition, and accountability. Set up a structure where every day your focus is on a specific goal and you measure your progress. When you see results, even small ones, it reinforces the power of action. Over time, action becomes the natural response to challenges, and complaining becomes irrelevant. Understand that complaining not only slows you down, but also attracts negativity. The more you vocalize dissatisfaction, the more your mind searches for reasons to stay unhappy. Action, however, creates confidence. It trains your brain to see possibilities instead of problems. When you act consistently, your perspective shifts from scarcity to capability. Your focus moves from obstacles to solutions, from excuses to results. That mindset difference is the edge that separates achievers from spectators. Complainers wait for change. They hope, they argue, they expect. Doers create change. They start, they persist, and they finish. Even small imperfect actions have greater power than long, eloquent complaints. The satisfaction of progress outweighs the temporary relief of venting. Every time you choose to act instead of complain, you prove to yourself that you have control over your life. You become someone who builds results, not just narratives. You will notice that action compounds. One completed task leads to clarity for the next. One solved problem teaches you how to solve another. Momentum grows, confidence increases, and the habit of execution strengthens. Complaints, by contrast, compound into despair. The longer you focus on what's wrong, the more insurmountable your challenges feel. Action breaks that cycle. It converts anxiety into achievement, doubt into direction, and frustration into fuel. Replace complaining with reflection that leads to planning. Instead of dwelling on failures, extract lessons. Instead of lamenting mistakes, identify improvements. Instead of arguing over circumstances, determine what is within your control. Each insight should prompt a practical step. Knowledge without execution is meaningless. Reflection paired with action becomes unstoppable growth. It is also essential to understand that action breeds respect, not only from others, but from yourself. Every complaint erodes your self-trust. Every focused effort strengthens it. When you consistently act, your confidence grows, your self-discipline solidifies, and your influence increases. People notice effort more than words. Life rewards those who do, not those who argue about what should be done. Daily focused action requires intentionality. Plan your day around tasks that matter most. Identify high-leverage activities, those that move you closer to your goals, and execute them without distraction. Prioritize what creates results instead of what feels urgent but insignificant. Complaints often arise when we feel overwhelmed. Structured action reduces overwhelm because each day becomes a sequence of manageable steps toward a concrete objective. The ultimate lesson is simple: the power to change your life is in your hands. Complaints cost energy and produce nothing. Action costs effort and produces results. By replacing verbal frustration with practical work, you take control of your life. You stop waiting for luck, fairness, or external validation. You become the force that drives your own success. Every single day presents a choice. You can choose to articulate what's wrong, or you can choose to do something right. You can spend your energy on irritation, or you can invest it in achievement. That choice defines not only the results you see, but also the person you become. The person who acts daily builds confidence, capability, and resilience. The person who complains daily builds excuses, weakness, and stagnation. Your transformation begins when you refuse to let circumstances dictate your response. You cannot control every challenge, but you can control what you do next. Complaints are passive, action is active. Complaints depend on others, action depends on you. The day you fully embrace this truth is the day your life begins to shift. When words stop being your outlet and work becomes your habit, results replace frustration. In the end, success is a product of daily focused action, not words. Every complaint you silence is a small victory. Every step you take toward your goals is proof that you are capable. Over time, those actions compound, creating opportunities that would have remained closed to those who only talk. Life responds to execution, not conversation. Choose action relentlessly. Let your hands, your mind, and your persistence replace every complaint. The momentum will follow, and the results will speak for themselves. Chapter 13. Use every failure as proof you are still growing. Failure is not the end of your journey. It is the sign that you are moving, testing boundaries, and daring to grow. Every time something doesn't work out, it proves that you are in motion, pushing against limits, and refusing to stay comfortable. Many people fear failure because they think it defines them, but failure is nothing more than a mirror showing you where you can improve. The moment you stop seeing it as defeat and start seeing it as feedback, you unlock one of the most powerful tools for personal growth. Failure is evidence of effort. It shows that you tried, that you risked, that you stepped into uncertainty rather than staying frozen in safety. Inaction never leads to failure, but it also never leads to success. Every failed attempt is proof that you are alive, engaged, and pursuing something meaningful. It is the natural consequence of stretching yourself beyond your current limits. The people who achieve greatness are not those who never failed. They are those who learned from every misstep and used it as fuel to improve. When a failure happens, the first step is to remove shame and judgment from it. Your mistake does not define your worth. It simply reveals a gap between your current ability and the challenge you faced. That gap is not something to fear. It is an opportunity to close. Each failure carries a lesson, if you are willing to look for it. By analyzing what went wrong, what choices led to undesired results, and how you can adjust, you turn disappointment into a roadmap for growth. Growth is not linear. Progress is not a straight path. You will stumble, make wrong choices, and sometimes fall flat. The crucial point is how you respond. Do you shrink, blaming yourself or others, or do you rise, using the experience to improve your next attempt? Every failure contains information that is more valuable than temporary comfort. It shows you what doesn't work so you can focus on what will. In this way, failure is not punishment, it is guidance. One of the most important ways to use failure as proof of growth is to track your lessons. Write down what you learned from each setback. Document the insights, the adjustments, and the strategies that emerged. This process turns abstract disappointment into concrete progress. Over time, you will see a record of growth even when immediate results are invisible. You will realize that each failed attempt has been building your knowledge, your skill, and your resilience. Failure also teaches humility. It reminds you that mastery is earned, not given, and that improvement requires persistence and reflection. Humility is not weakness, it is clarity. It allows you to separate ego from effort. It shows you that even when you fall, you have the capacity to rise again. Those who fear failure often cling to pride and avoid challenge. Those who embrace failure gain strength because they know that no single outcome can undo their ability to grow. It is essential to normalize failure as part of the process. Every expert, every successful person has failed countless times before achieving mastery. They did not become extraordinary by avoiding mistakes. They became extraordinary by responding to them with discipline, curiosity, and determination. Your failures are milestones showing that you are actively moving forward, while others are standing still. They indicate that you are expanding your capacity and daring to do more than before. Using failure as proof of growth requires a mindset shift. You must stop seeing mistakes as a reflection of your worth and start seeing them as markers of your journey. Each setback is a signal that you are stretching, testing, and evolving. If you allow failure to discourage you, it becomes a trap. If you allow it to teach you, it becomes a tool. That tool sharpens your abilities, prepares you for bigger challenges, and builds confidence that nothing can stop you when you are willing to learn. Failure also strengthens resilience. When you experience it repeatedly and continue moving forward, you condition yourself to handle adversity without losing momentum. Each time you fail and keep going, you prove to yourself that setbacks are temporary, but determination is lasting. That internal proof is far more valuable than any external validation. It gives you the courage to take greater risks, tackle more difficult challenges, and aim for higher goals, because you know failure does not destroy you. It educates you. The lessons from failure extend beyond skills and knowledge. They teach emotional intelligence. You learn patience, self-control, and perspective. You learn how to manage frustration and maintain focus under pressure. You discover your capacity to adapt, to recover, and to continue even when circumstances seem to conspire against you. Growth through failure is not only technical, it is deeply personal, building the mental and emotional strength required to sustain success. Every failure is also an opportunity to innovate. When a method doesn't work, you are forced to consider alternative approaches. Creativity emerges in the gap between expectation and result. You begin to think differently, problem solve with more insight, and develop strategies you would never have discovered if success came easily. In this sense, failure is the proving ground for ingenuity and resourcefulness, teaching you to navigate obstacles rather than avoiding them. Your relationship with failure determines your trajectory. If you fear it, you limit your potential. If you embrace it, you expand it. Each time you stumble, remind yourself that this is not evidence of inadequacy, it is evidence of growth. It shows that you are actively engaging with life, testing limits, and refusing to remain passive. Your failures are stamps in the passport of your personal evolution, each marking progress toward competence, mastery, and strength. Action is the antidote to fear of failure. The more you do, the more you learn. Every time you attempt something difficult, whether you succeed or fail, you gain experience. That experience compounds. The lessons you extract from failure become strategies for future success. Over time, this process transforms you from someone hesitant and cautious into someone confident and capable, ready to handle challenges that would have once been overwhelming. Failure also clarifies priorities. It highlights what matters, what works, and what doesn't. It shows you where to focus your energy and where to adjust your approach. Each failed attempt eliminates uncertainty, revealing the path forward with more precision. When you view setbacks as feedback instead of defeat, you make smarter decisions faster, accelerating your growth in every area of life. Remember that growth through failure requires persistence. One setback does not define your trajectory, nor does 10. The key is continuity, rising every time you fall, learning from every mistake, and applying those lessons immediately. Persistence transforms raw experience into expertise. It is not luck or talent, but repeated engagement with failure and adaptation that produces mastery. Failure also strengthens character. It builds patience, humility, resilience, and discipline. It teaches you to value effort over outcome, process over instant gratification, and perseverance over comfort. These qualities are what distinguish those who merely dream from those who achieve. By treating failure as proof of growth, you cultivate a mindset that thrives on challenge rather than fearing it, seeing obstacles as steps rather than walls. Every failure you face is an invitation to evolve. It confirms that you are stretching beyond your limits and expanding your abilities. By approaching failure with curiosity and determination, you transform setbacks into stepping stones. Nothing wasted, nothing meaningless. Every misstep, every mistake, every disappointment becomes proof that you are learning, moving, and growing toward the person you are meant to become. In the end, failure is not an enemy, it is a teacher. Every time you fall, it demonstrates that you are trying, that you are alive, and that you are willing to grow. Those who fear failure remain small, while those who embrace it become powerful. Each failure is evidence that your journey is ongoing, that your effort is real, and that your potential is limitless. Use every failure as proof that you are still learning, still improving, and still moving toward greatness. Chapter 14. Cut distractions and focus only on what truly matters. Distractions are the silent thieves of your potential, quietly stealing time, focus, and energy while you convince yourself that being busy is the same as being productive. Every unplanned scroll, idle conversation, or unnecessary task is a moment you could have used to move closer to your goals. Success is not built on doing everything, it is built on doing what matters most, consistently, with undivided attention. The first step to reclaiming your life is cutting away everything that does not serve your growth. Focus is not a natural state. It is a skill you must cultivate. It requires courage to say no to the noise of the world, to reject the distractions that feel urgent but have no value. The mind craves constant stimulation, but stimulation does not equal progress. Every time you allow an irrelevant email, notification, or opinion to control your attention, you give power away that could have fueled meaningful action. Protecting your focus is not selfish. It is necessary for building a life worth living. The key to cutting distractions is clarity about what truly matters. Most people drift through their days without a clear sense of priority. They react to what appears in front of them rather than proactively moving toward what counts. When you define your highest priorities, everything else becomes easier to dismiss. Each day, identify the few actions that will have the greatest impact on your goals and commit to executing them fully. Anything outside that list is secondary and can be postponed or ignored. Distractions often masquerade as opportunities. A new project, a trending topic, or an enticing offer can seem important until you measure it against your long-term vision. Discipline is the ability to see past temporary allure and focus on what produces meaningful results. When you say no to short-term temptations, you create space for actions that compound into long-term success. The difference between those who achieve and those who merely react is often this: one chooses carefully, the other chooses constantly. Multitasking is the enemy of excellence. Splitting attention across multiple tasks reduces the quality of work and drains mental energy. True progress comes from deep focus, immersing yourself fully in one meaningful task until it is complete or until significant progress is made. Every distraction interrupts this flow, scattering your efforts and slowing momentum. To move forward efficiently, you must train your mind to concentrate, to resist the urge for constant novelty, and to commit to one important action at a time. Cutting distractions also requires controlling your environment. Your surroundings have a profound impact on your ability to focus. Remove physical clutter, minimize digital noise, and create spaces dedicated to work, reflection, and growth. Your environment should support your goals, not undermine them. The easier you make focus, the less energy it takes to maintain it, and the more consistently you can act on what truly matters. Time is finite. Every distraction consumes moments you will never get back. Successful people understand this and guard their time with vigilance. They schedule intentionally, block interruptions, and allocate energy to tasks that align with their priorities. Guarding time is not about rigidity, it is about valuing your life. When you treat each moment as a precious resource, it forces clarity in decision-making and eliminates unnecessary busyness. The ability to focus is strengthened by saying no repeatedly. It is uncomfortable at first because most people are conditioned to say yes, to please, to participate, to avoid conflict. But every yes that does not serve your mission is a yes stolen from your potential. Learning to decline distractions gracefully but firmly is a discipline that compounds. The more you say no to what is irrelevant, the more yes you can give to what truly drives growth. Mental clarity also comes from cutting internal distractions. Thoughts of worry, regret, and doubt can be just as disruptive as external interruptions. When your mind is scattered with unnecessary concerns, your actions lose precision. Focus requires control over attention, including the attention you give to your own thoughts. Daily reflection, meditation, or journaling can help clear the mental fog, allowing you to approach tasks with intention and calm determination. Distractions are also emotional. Fear, insecurity, and comparison can pull you away from meaningful action. Observing others' lives, obsessing over approval, or dwelling on criticism consumes energy without producing results. Every moment spent distracted by emotions that cannot change the outcome is a moment wasted. Shift attention to what you can control, your actions, your habits, and your responses, and you reclaim power that fuels forward movement. Consistency in focus creates momentum. One isolated act of concentration is helpful, but repeated, disciplined attention compounds into mastery. Each day you remove distractions and commit to meaningful work. You reinforce a habit that shapes your future. Over time, this habit becomes second nature, making distractions less tempting and focus more natural. Your capacity to execute grows exponentially, and results start appearing faster than ever before. Accountability enhances focus. When you publicly commit to a goal or track your progress daily, distractions lose their appeal. Knowing that your time and effort are being measured shifts energy from avoidance to action. External accountability strengthens internal discipline, helping you prioritize tasks that truly matter. You become less reactive to trivial interruptions and more proactive in pursuing meaningful progress. Cutting distractions also requires a long-term perspective. Immediate satisfaction often tempts you away from important work, but long-term vision creates a filter for decision-making. Ask yourself, does this action move me toward the life I want in a year, 5 years, or 10 years? If the answer is no, it is a distraction. This practice trains your mind to weigh every choice against your highest priorities, turning momentary decisions into deliberate steps toward your goals. Technology, while powerful, is a major source of distraction. Social media, notifications, and endless streams of information are designed to capture attention, not create results. Use technology intentionally, not reactively. Allocate specific times for communication and information intake, and eliminate constant interruptions. Control over digital tools is control over your time, energy, and focus. The process of removing distractions is not a one-time event. It is daily vigilance. Every day presents new temptations and interruptions. Each requires a conscious decision to prioritize what matters. Your ability to remain disciplined grows stronger with practice. Each time you resist a distraction and complete an important task, you reinforce the habit, build confidence, and create proof that focused effort produces results. Focusing on what truly matters is also empowering. It clarifies purpose, aligns energy with intention, and produces measurable results. When distractions are removed, you experience the satisfaction of tangible progress. That feeling reinforces your commitment, creating a positive cycle where action produces momentum, momentum produces confidence, and confidence fuels further action. Your life will always present distractions, but your success depends on what you allow to occupy your attention. Guard your focus, act deliberately, and eliminate what does not contribute to your vision. Every moment you invest in what matters is a building block for the future you want. The fewer distractions you entertain, the faster your growth, the sharper your skills, and the stronger your results. At the end of the day, the difference between those who achieve their goals and those who remain stuck is simple: focus. Action applied with clarity, purpose, and consistency outperforms busyness every time. Cut distractions, protect your attention, and commit to what truly matters. Do this relentlessly, and your life will reflect the power of undivided focus, where progress is inevitable and growth is unstoppable. Chapter 15. Hold yourself accountable when life feels completely unfair. Life does not owe you fairness, and waiting for it to become fair before acting is a guarantee of stagnation. Challenges will appear without warning, setbacks will strike without reason, and the world will often seem to move against you. In those moments, the only person you can rely on is yourself. Holding yourself accountable when life feels unfair is the ultimate test of character, because it forces you to focus on what you can control instead of blaming what you cannot. Accountability begins with honesty. When circumstances are difficult, it's easy to point fingers, to blame external factors, or to claim that obstacles are beyond your control. But real strength comes from pausing, reflecting, and asking a simple question: what can I do right now to move forward despite these conditions? The moment you answer that question and act on it, you reclaim power that circumstances tried to steal. Accountability is not punishment, it is ownership of your life, and it is the path to real progress. The unfairness of life often feels personal, as if you are uniquely burdened. But everyone faces obstacles, setbacks, and disappointments. Those who succeed are not immune to hardship. They simply refuse to let it define them. They recognize that life is not fair, but they also recognize that success is not a product of fairness. It is a product of consistent, deliberate effort. By holding yourself accountable, you create results even when the world seems stacked against you. Holding yourself accountable requires discipline. It demands that you complete the tasks you set for yourself even when motivation is gone, even when fatigue and frustration tempt you to quit. Discipline is the bridge between intention and achievement. When life feels unfair, discipline keeps you moving. It ensures that progress continues, even in the face of adversity. Accountability without discipline is just a wish. Discipline without accountability is wasted energy. Together, they create unstoppable momentum. One of the most powerful aspects of accountability is the clarity it brings. When you own your choices, you stop wasting energy on excuses and focus entirely on solutions. Instead of asking "why me?", you ask "what next?". Every decision becomes deliberate. Every action has purpose. You become a problem solver, a mover, and a doer, rather than a victim of circumstance. Life may remain unfair, but your response becomes consistent, reliable, and effective. External support is valuable, but it is not guaranteed. People may let you down, resources may vanish, and opportunities may not appear when you hope. If you rely solely on others, your progress is at the mercy of chance. Accountability ensures that your success is not dependent on fairness or help. It makes you independent, self-reliant, and resilient. When you hold yourself accountable, no external circumstance can prevent you from taking the next step forward. Holding yourself accountable also builds confidence. Every time you meet a goal, follow through on a promise to yourself, or act despite unfair conditions, you prove your reliability to the most important person in your life. Confidence is born not from comfort but from proving to yourself repeatedly that you can navigate difficulty and still produce results. Each act of accountability reinforces your belief that you are capable no matter what life throws at you. Accountability requires reflection. At the end of each day, ask yourself hard questions. Did I do what I said I would do? Did I give my best effort, even when conditions were harsh? Did I face reality honestly and act regardless of circumstances? Reflection illuminates where you fell short and where you succeeded. It is a tool to adjust, improve, and recommit. Without this self-assessment, accountability remains superficial. True accountability grows only through honest evaluation and decisive action. Challenges and unfairness are also opportunities in disguise. They test your patience, sharpen your focus, and reveal your limits. When you hold yourself accountable, you transform these trials into training grounds. Every setback becomes a lesson, every obstacle becomes a chance to practice resilience, and every failure becomes data for future improvement. Life may never seem fair, but it rewards those who refuse to be paralyzed by injustice and instead take deliberate action. Accountability also demands courage. It is easier to hide, to justify, or to delay when life is hard. But courage is what allows you to confront your own behavior, recognize where you can improve, and act despite fear or discomfort. Each courageous act reinforces your self-trust and strengthens your capacity to handle future difficulties. Courage without accountability is wasted bravery. Accountability without courage is hollow responsibility. Together they form a foundation of unshakable personal strength. The unfairness of life often triggers resentment. It is tempting to fixate on what is unjust, to replay grievances in your mind, and to allow bitterness to consume your energy. But resentment is wasted energy. Holding yourself accountable shifts focus from what is wrong outside to what is possible inside. Instead of reacting emotionally to unfairness, you respond strategically. Every action becomes a step towards solving problems rather than amplifying them. Resentment diminishes results. Accountability produces them. Accountability also cultivates independence. When life feels unfair, relying on others for solutions can leave you stuck and powerless. Taking responsibility for your own progress ensures that you are never entirely dependent on external factors. Independence does not mean ignoring help. It means that your baseline progress is determined by your own effort. You learn to act regardless of support, creating stability and resilience in the face of uncertainty. Holding yourself accountable strengthens perseverance. Life will always present obstacles, some expected, others sudden and severe. The people who endure are not those with easy paths. They are those who maintain consistent action, reflection, and responsibility even when conditions are unjust. Each day of accountability reinforces endurance, building a pattern of persistence that cannot be shaken by circumstance. Accountability also encourages strategic thinking. When you commit to results, you are forced to plan, prioritize, and adjust continuously. You learn to anticipate problems, manage resources efficiently, and focus on actions that yield the greatest impact. This clarity comes from ownership of outcomes rather than dependence on fairness. Life may remain unpredictable, but your response becomes precise, effective, and results-oriented. Ultimately, holding yourself accountable transforms your relationship with life itself. You stop waiting for conditions to be ideal for support to arrive, or for fairness to prevail. You embrace the truth that progress is built through consistent effort, reflection, and responsibility. Life may never seem fair, but your results will reflect your diligence, resilience, and commitment. Accountability is not just a tool for success, it is the way to take control of your own destiny. Every moment presents a choice: succumb to the perceived unfairness or rise and act regardless. By holding yourself accountable, you choose action, responsibility, and growth. Challenges become opportunities, setbacks become lessons, and obstacles become proof of your resilience. Life may test you endlessly, but accountability ensures that no circumstance can stop you from building the life you desire. Your future is determined not by fairness, but by the relentless ownership of your actions, decisions, and effort. Chapter 16. Wake up early and take control of your own time. Every morning presents a choice: to surrender your day to distraction, delay, and indecision, or to seize control and determine how every hour will be spent. Waking up early is not about following a trend or adhering to some ideal schedule. It is about claiming ownership of your life before the world demands attention and pulls you off course. The first hours of the day are the most powerful because they set the tone for everything that follows. When you start strong, momentum builds naturally, and you operate from a position of control rather than reaction. The act of rising early is more than a habit. It is a declaration of intent. By choosing to wake before the noise begins, you demonstrate to yourself that you value your goals, your growth, and your time. Those quiet hours are a rare commodity, untainted by interruptions, and they offer the clarity needed to plan, focus, and act with precision. Success rarely waits for the distracted, but it responds to the disciplined who take command of their time from the outset. Early mornings provide the opportunity for undisturbed reflection. In those first hours, the mind is clear, energy levels are higher, and decisions can be made with a level of focus often impossible later in the day. Planning, goal setting, skill building, or even simple preparation for challenges ahead becomes more effective. While others are still recovering from sleep or being swept up in external demands, you are actively shaping your future. This advantage compounds over weeks, months, and years, creating a gap between those who seize time and those who allow it to slip away. Taking control of your time is about more than just waking up. It is about how you use those hours. Every action must be deliberate and aligned with your priorities. Early mornings can be devoted to exercise, learning, strategizing, or tackling your most important work. This period of high-quality focus creates a foundation for productivity that lasts all day. Tasks that might later feel overwhelming can be handled calmly and effectively when approached during this period of undisturbed attention. Consistency is critical. Waking early sporadically produces little benefit. The real power lies in repetition. By consistently rising early, you train your body, mind, and habits to align with a schedule that supports achievement. Discipline becomes automatic. Decision fatigue decreases, and a sense of ownership over your day strengthens. Each morning you commit to this practice reinforces your control over time and builds resilience against excuses and distractions. Time is the only resource that is truly finite. Waking early multiplies its value because the hours gained are yours alone, unclaimed by the demands of others or by chaos. Many people waste daylight reacting to emergencies, notifications, or obligations that may not serve their long-term goals. By claiming the morning, you prioritize yourself and your objectives before the world attempts to dictate your agenda. That early advantage transforms minutes into results and days into progress. Rising early also fosters mental clarity and emotional control. The quiet morning offers space to review your intentions, set daily goals, and center your focus. When you approach tasks with this calm, structured mindset, you make fewer mistakes, act with purpose, and maintain energy that might otherwise be dissipated by chaos and distraction. Those who control their mornings control their energy, which in turn amplifies their effectiveness throughout the day. Waking early requires preparation. A strong evening routine reinforces the habit by allowing you to rest adequately and wake naturally. Discipline in going to bed at a reasonable hour ensures that rising early is sustainable. This preparation is itself a form of control, demonstrating that mastery over time is not just about the moment of waking, but about structuring your life so that each day begins with intention rather than necessity. Early mornings are also ideal for building skills and knowledge. Whether it is reading, writing, studying, or practicing a craft, this time is free from distractions and interruption. Incremental learning, practiced daily in the morning, accumulates exponentially. Months of focused morning effort produce competence that outpaces sporadic effort, and the confidence gained fuels further action. Those who rise early take advantage of time that others squander, creating opportunities that feel like breakthroughs simply because they have been intentional. Taking control of your time also involves eliminating unnecessary morning distractions. Social media, messages, and trivial tasks often fill the early hours if left unchecked. Protect this period fiercely. Structure your environment and habits so that attention is directed toward high-value actions. The quality of your early work sets a precedent for the day, signaling to your mind and body that focus, discipline, and growth are the priorities. The benefits extend beyond productivity. They shape character. Waking early strengthens self-discipline, fortitude, and resilience. It builds a habit of acting before comfort dictates choices. Each morning you rise with purpose. You reinforce the belief that you are capable of commanding your life, rather than being controlled by circumstances or fleeting desires. Over time, this habit transforms you into someone proactive, confident, and prepared for challenges. Early mornings also foster foresight. By reflecting on long-term goals and aligning daily actions accordingly, you develop strategic clarity. Tasks are approached with a sense of purpose rather than reaction. When you anticipate obstacles and plan solutions before the day begins, you reduce stress and increase efficiency. The ability to see the path forward clearly is a product of time claimed in solitude, away from distraction, where thinking is deliberate rather than pressured. Holding control over your own time also cultivates freedom. When your mornings are intentional, the rest of your day is easier to manage. You create buffer, opportunity, and energy to handle unexpected challenges without panic. Life does not become easier, but you become stronger and more capable of navigating it. Mastery over the start of the day translates into mastery over the trajectory of your life. Action is amplified by morning energy. Fatigue, decision fatigue, and reactive behaviors increase as the day progresses. The hours immediately after waking offer peak mental performance, clarity, and decision-making ability. By acting decisively in these hours, you leverage your natural energy to produce high-impact results that might otherwise take twice as long or be done half as effectively. The early morning becomes your advantage in a world where most people are merely reacting. Finally, waking early is a commitment to yourself. It is a promise that your goals, your growth, and your priorities matter more than comfort or convenience. It is a statement that you will not be passive, that you will not allow circumstances or other people to dictate your path. Time is your most valuable resource, and the moment you claim the morning, you take control of it. Every day begins with a choice. Surrender to the rush, distractions, and fatigue, or rise early and act with intention. Those who choose to wake and take control of their time consistently build momentum, clarity, skill, and results that set them apart. Early mornings are not about vanity or trends. They are about mastery over life, energy, and opportunity. By taking command of your hours, you set the stage for unstoppable progress and create a life shaped by purpose rather than chance. Chapter 17. Work silently until your results speak with undeniable strength. True achievement is rarely announced with fanfare. It is built quietly, steadily, and with unwavering focus until the results themselves demand attention. In a world obsessed with visibility, recognition, and immediate validation, the most powerful work often happens in silence. Those who understand this principle know that effort invested without an audience is not wasted. It is the foundation upon which undeniable success is built. Working silently requires patience and discipline. It is the ability to persist without applause, to continue refining skills, developing ideas, and taking action even when no one is watching. Most people are motivated by external validation, and when that motivation fades, effort collapses. Learning to act regardless of recognition separates those who achieve lasting results from those who only appear busy. True strength emerges not from being seen, but from the consistency, depth, and quality of your work. Silence cultivates focus. When attention is not scattered by the desire for approval or constant feedback, energy is fully devoted to the task at hand. Work becomes deliberate, thoughtful, and precise. Mistakes are corrected immediately because the goal is mastery, not performance. Every small improvement compounds over time, creating momentum that once revealed cannot be ignored. In essence, silent work is the most efficient form of progress because it is uninterrupted by ego or distraction. Confidence grows in quiet effort. When you work diligently without broadcasting every step, you learn to trust yourself rather than the opinions of others. You discover that your ability to produce results does not depend on recognition, encouragement, or external pressure. This internal validation is far stronger than any temporary applause. When results finally emerge, they carry authority precisely because they were forged through focused, disciplined effort rather than performance for attention. Working silently also teaches humility. The process of building skills, solving problems, and creating value without immediate acknowledgement reinforces the understanding that success is earned, not given. Humility does not mean undervaluing your achievements. It means recognizing that meaningful results require patience, persistence, and dedication, not shortcuts or showmanship. Those who embrace this approach cultivate respect and admiration organically, rather than through self-promotion. Results become louder than words. Effort alone, when persistent and strategic, eventually produces outcomes that speak with clarity, power, and credibility. While others rely on promises, declarations, or appearances, you allow your accomplishments to do the talking. There is a unique strength in this approach. No one can dispute concrete results, and they create opportunities that empty words never will. Success achieved quietly carries weight because it is backed by undeniable evidence rather than persuasion or hype. Distractions and noise are minimized when work is silent. By removing the compulsion to constantly share progress or seek validation, energy is redirected toward execution. Social media, gossip, and comparisons lose their influence. Every moment spent working in quiet concentration becomes an investment in mastery. The discipline of remaining unobserved cultivates mental toughness, clarity, and resilience, qualities that amplify impact when results finally appear. Silence encourages strategic thinking. Without the pressure to explain, justify, or impress, Your mind can focus on refining methods, solving problems, and anticipating challenges. You can test ideas, make adjustments, and improve processes without fear of scrutiny. This freedom to iterate quietly fosters creativity, innovation, and precision. By the time the work is revealed, it is not only complete, it is polished, effective, and unmistakably strong. Persistence is amplified in the absence of external recognition. Many people abandon efforts when progress is slow or unnoticed. Those who work silently understand that effort is the true currency of success, not visibility. They continue taking daily steps, incrementally building momentum that compounds into significant achievement. Each small, unseen effort contributes to a larger, undeniable outcome that cannot be ignored once it manifests. Working silently strengthens character. It teaches patience, self-reliance, and commitment. By focusing on action rather than recognition, you develop resilience against criticism, envy, and distraction. You learn to measure progress by results, not reactions. This approach cultivates mental toughness, allowing you to stay committed to long-term objectives even when immediate rewards are absent. The ability to work without external validation is one of the most valuable traits a person can develop. Results achieved quietly also inspire others without effort. People notice performance, not declarations. When others see the impact of consistent, disciplined work, admiration and respect follow naturally. This form of influence is far more powerful than persuasion because it is rooted in proof. Quiet effort creates credibility that words alone cannot match, and it establishes a reputation that opens doors, builds trust, and fosters opportunities over time. The act of working silently also nurtures self-awareness. Without the distraction of constant feedback, you develop the ability to assess your own progress, identify weaknesses, and adjust strategies effectively. Reflection becomes part of the process rather than a reaction to external pressure. This self-guided growth builds competence and confidence simultaneously, creating a foundation of strength that is sustainable and resilient. Consistency amplifies the power of silent work. Daily, focused effort, even when invisible, accumulates into outcomes that cannot be ignored. One completed task leads to another, one improvement leads to another, one disciplined effort compounds into mastery. Results that are initially imperceptible eventually manifest in ways that are striking and undeniable. The strength of these results comes from the cumulative impact of persistent, thoughtful action, not from fleeting attention or hype. Working silently does not mean isolating yourself entirely. It means prioritizing execution over announcement, substance over style. Collaboration, communication, and networking remain important, but they serve the purpose of advancing results rather than seeking validation. Every interaction is measured by contribution and alignment with goals, ensuring that time and energy are directed toward meaningful progress rather than superficial recognition. Finally, silent work demands trust in the process. You may not see immediate acknowledgement or appreciation, but the discipline, focus, and effort you invest will compound into undeniable outcomes. Trusting yourself to continue, to refine, and to persevere is the ultimate demonstration of strength. When the results emerge, they speak with authority, credibility, and clarity, reflecting the depth of effort that preceded them. The difference between fleeting visibility and enduring impact is the ability to work without seeking attention. Results produced quietly, patiently, and consistently cannot be disputed. They demand recognition because they are real, measurable, and powerful. Working silently until your results speak with undeniable strength is not only a strategy for achievement, it is a mindset, a discipline, and a declaration that action, consistency, and mastery are more valuable than noise. The moment when results finally appear is transformative. It validates every unseen hour, every disciplined effort, and every sacrifice made in silence. Others may have doubted, distractions may have abounded, and recognition may have been absent, but the work itself proves its value. Quiet effort is the ultimate demonstration of power. It requires nothing from the world except your persistence, and it delivers everything that matters when it is revealed. Chapter 18. Protect your peace and energy from negative influences. Your peace is your most valuable asset, and your energy is the fuel that drives every meaningful action in your life. Allowing negative influences, whether people, environments, or thoughts, to invade your mental space is like pouring water into a leaking bucket. No matter how much effort you put in, it drains away. Protecting both your peace and your energy is not selfish. It is essential for survival, growth, and achieving the life you desire. Every moment you spend defending your mental and emotional boundaries multiplies your capacity to act, think clearly, and create results that matter. The first step in safeguarding your peace is awareness. Recognize the sources of negativity that surround you. It might be individuals who thrive on criticism, environments that breed chaos, or habits that keep your mind restless and distracted. The world is filled with energy drainers, but energy is yours to manage. Understanding the difference between what is within your control and what is not allows you to strategically protect your attention and emotional bandwidth. Boundaries are essential. Saying no to toxic influences is an act of self-respect, not confrontation. It might mean limiting interactions with negative people, avoiding environments that sap motivation, or refusing to engage in conversations that breed resentment. The energy you conserve by protecting these boundaries is reinvested in your goals, habits, and personal growth. Every no creates space for meaningful yeses, enabling you to operate from strength rather than depletion. Your internal world is just as important as your external environment. Negative thoughts, fears, and self-doubt can quietly erode focus and drain energy without anyone else being involved. Guarding your inner dialogue is critical. Challenge unproductive thoughts, replace them with constructive alternatives, and center your attention on what you can control. Mental discipline ensures that your energy is not wasted on what cannot be changed, leaving more power to act where it counts. Negative influences often disguise themselves as obligations or responsibilities. They can arrive in the form of unnecessary commitments, social pressures, or attempts to please others at your own expense. Evaluate every demand on your time and energy critically. Ask whether it aligns with your priorities or simply distracts you. By filtering out what is unnecessary, you maintain clarity and preserve the focus needed to pursue meaningful objectives. Protecting your peace also requires detachment. Not every battle is yours to fight, and not every opinion requires a response. The more you resist the urge to react impulsively to negativity, the more energy you retain for deliberate, strategic action. Detachment is not indifference. It is a conscious choice to invest in what matters and to ignore what does not serve your purpose. Each time you practice this, your mental strength grows. Energy management is linked to daily habits. Sleep, nutrition, exercise, and mental focus are not luxuries. They are tools to fortify your defenses against negative influences. When your body and mind are strong, you are less susceptible to emotional manipulation, stress, and fatigue. Protecting your physical and mental health is a proactive way to ensure that external negativity has minimal impact on your capacity to act and think clearly. Social environments have profound effects on your peace. Surround yourself with individuals who encourage, challenge, and uplift you. Seek relationships that inspire growth rather than foster drama or complaint. Positive associations amplify your energy, motivate disciplined action, and reinforce mental resilience. Conversely, tolerating negativity in your social sphere depletes energy daily and undermines long-term goals. The company you keep directly impacts the clarity of your mind and the strength of your results. Digital consumption is another major factor. Social media, news, and online discussions can bombard your mind with negativity, fear, and distraction. Curate your digital environment carefully. Limit exposure to sources that stir anxiety or frustration, and focus on content that educates, motivates, or inspires. Conscious consumption ensures that your energy is allocated toward growth rather than being siphoned by endless reactive cycles. Protecting your peace also involves forgiveness, but it must be coupled with boundaries. Holding on to resentment consumes energy unnecessarily. Forgiveness does not mean inviting toxicity back into your life. It means releasing the emotional burden so you can operate from a position of strength. Energy freed from past grudges can be redirected toward action, strategy, and personal development. Time management is directly linked to energy protection. Wasting time on tasks, conversations, or commitments that do not serve your growth creates emotional fatigue and mental clutter. Prioritize activities that yield tangible progress or personal enrichment. Every hour invested in low-value distractions diminishes your capacity to execute, making it easier for negativity to seep in and disrupt focus. Mindfulness strengthens defense against negative influences. By cultivating awareness of your thoughts, feelings, and reactions, you become less susceptible to emotional triggers. Observing negativity without immediately reacting allows you to maintain control and respond strategically. This practice ensures that your energy is preserved for action, decision-making, and problem-solving rather than being wasted on emotional reactions. Discipline reinforces peace. Structure your days intentionally so that energy is not scattered. Allocate time for work, growth, reflection, and rest. Predictable routines reduce mental chaos, create stability, and make it harder for external negativity to penetrate your focus. Discipline is the armor that maintains calm in the midst of potential disruption, enabling you to move through challenges without surrendering energy unnecessarily. Every negative influence carries a lesson if approached wisely. Rather than internalizing the toxicity, observe it, learn what triggers depletion, and create strategies to avoid or neutralize it. Each interaction with negativity becomes an opportunity to strengthen resilience and refine the mechanisms by which you protect your energy. Growth often emerges from careful navigation of challenging circumstances, provided you do not allow them to dominate your emotional state. Protecting your peace is not passive. It is active engagement with life on your own terms. It requires vigilance, choices, and sometimes difficult action. You may need to confront, distance, or remove sources of negativity deliberately. It may also involve investing time and effort into reinforcing mental, emotional, and physical resilience. Each proactive measure builds a shield that preserves the energy necessary to execute on priorities and pursue meaningful outcomes. Ultimately, your energy and peace are inseparable from your results. When depleted, focus falters, decision-making suffers, and progress slows. When protected, clarity, strength, and productivity soar. Treat both as non-negotiable resources. Guard them fiercely. Prioritize their maintenance, and be intentional about how and with whom you spend your time. The life you desire requires that you operate from a position of strength, not drain. Negative influences will always exist, but your response defines the impact they can have. By consciously protecting your peace and energy, you maintain the capacity to act decisively, think clearly, and pursue your highest priorities without compromise. Each boundary you set, each moment of detachment, and each act of disciplined energy management builds a life defined by control, focus, and unstoppable progress. Every action, thought, and decision either protects your energy or diminishes it. The choice is constant and deliberate. When you commit to guarding your peace, you create a mental and emotional environment where growth is possible, focus is sustained, and results are inevitable. Your energy is finite, your time is precious, and your potential is immense. Protect them relentlessly, and the life you strive to create will be built on a foundation of unshakable strength. Chapter 19. Forgive yourself for the past and move forward stronger. Carrying the weight of past mistakes is one of the heaviest burdens a person can bear, and it drains energy, focus, and potential. Forgiving yourself is not about forgetting or excusing what happened. It is about releasing the grip of regret and reclaiming the power to act in the present. Every moment spent trapped in self-blame is a moment wasted, a moment where progress is stalled. True strength emerges when you confront your past honestly, accept responsibility, and then move forward with renewed clarity and purpose. Self-forgiveness begins with acknowledgement. Denying your mistakes or pretending they never happened does not free you. It only buries unresolved issues beneath a fragile facade. Confront the choices, actions, or decisions that caused pain or failure. Write them down, reflect on them, and allow yourself to feel the discomfort fully. This is not indulgence, it is preparation. Recognizing your past errors is the first step in transforming them into lessons and fuel for growth. Accountability and forgiveness work together. Accepting your mistakes does not mean wallowing in guilt. It means understanding what went wrong, learning from it, and committing to different action moving forward. The past is immutable, but your response to it is entirely within your control. By balancing honesty with compassion for yourself, you create a foundation upon which resilience and progress can be built. It is crucial to separate identity from actions. A single failure, poor decision, or series of mistakes does not define you. Your character is measured not by what you have done incorrectly, but by your willingness to learn, adapt, and improve. Forgiving yourself allows you to reclaim your identity as a capable, evolving individual rather than remaining imprisoned by error or regret. Each step towards self-compassion strengthens confidence and prepares you for future challenges. Reflect on the lessons embedded in past failures. Every mistake contains valuable insight. What choices were flawed, what behaviors were destructive, and what strategies could have produced better outcomes. By examining these lessons objectively, you transform regret into practical knowledge. This knowledge becomes a guide, equipping you to navigate similar situations with wisdom and foresight. The act of self-forgiveness turns mistakes into tools for growth rather than chains that hold you back. Forgiveness also requires release. Holding on to anger, guilt, or self-recrimination is toxic. These emotions consume mental energy and emotional capacity, leaving little left for action, decision-making, or progress. By consciously letting go, you free energy that can be reinvested in your present goals and aspirations. Release is not weakness. It is an act of strategic empowerment that maximizes your capacity to perform and achieve. The process of self-forgiveness is strengthened by reflection and ritual. Take time to review your actions, identify patterns, and recognize moments where you acted with courage, insight, or integrity even amidst mistakes. Journaling, meditation, or quiet contemplation can provide clarity and reinforce your commitment to growth. Structured reflection converts emotional release into actionable understanding, creating a bridge from regret to forward motion. Forgiving yourself is also about patience. Personal growth is never instantaneous. Habits, mindsets, and behaviors take time to change. Accept that mistakes may continue to appear as you evolve, but each misstep offers an opportunity to apply lessons learned. Treat yourself with the same patience and guidance you would extend to someone you mentor or care for deeply. Compassion accelerates growth far more effectively than self-criticism ever could. Action is the ultimate proof of forgiveness. Words and feelings of self-compassion are insufficient without concrete behavior that reflects learning and improvement. Commit to steps that correct past patterns, reinforce positive habits, and demonstrate accountability. Forgiveness is not passive, it is an active, deliberate choice to engage with your present life fully while acknowledging past limitations. Each step forward reinforces self-trust and strengthens resilience. Forgiving yourself does not erase consequences, but it shifts perspective. Consequences remain as feedback and opportunity for correction, rather than instruments of punishment. Accepting responsibility while releasing self-blame ensures that you learn from every outcome and maintain forward momentum. Strength is cultivated when action is fueled by insight, not fear or regret. The strength gained from self-forgiveness is visible in every decision and effort you make after releasing the past. You move with clarity, confidence, and purpose. Energy once consumed by remorse now powers action. Mistakes become reference points, not anchors. By forgiving yourself, you reclaim the mental and emotional bandwidth necessary to tackle challenges, pursue goals, and embrace opportunities without hesitation. Forgiveness also deepens self-awareness. It requires honest evaluation of behavior, patterns, and choices. By understanding why mistakes occurred, you gain insight into your tendencies, triggers, and limitations. This awareness allows for more effective planning, decision-making, and risk management in the future. Strength grows from knowledge applied, not from avoidance or denial. Forgiving yourself enhances your relationships and external interactions. When you are free from the burden of self-criticism, you approach others with greater empathy, patience, and understanding. Emotional resilience translates outward, enabling collaboration, leadership, and influence without being undermined by lingering regret. Self-forgiveness sets a tone of stability, confidence, and reliability that others instinctively respect. Every day offers a new opportunity to demonstrate forgiveness through action. Approach each morning as a chance to do better, to make decisions aligned with your values, and to act decisively in pursuit of goals. Mistakes of yesterday do not dictate the outcomes of today. By consistently acting in ways that reflect learning and integrity, you reinforce forgiveness and strengthen the trajectory of your life. Finally, moving forward, stronger, requires commitment to continual growth. Self-forgiveness is not a one-time event, but a process that underpins every action, choice, and reflection. It empowers you to face challenges with courage, pursue goals with focus, and embrace opportunities with confidence. Each step taken with forgiveness as a foundation builds momentum, resilience, and strength that cannot be undone by past errors. The past is a teacher, not a jailer. By forgiving yourself, you release its grip and claim the power to act decisively in the present. Mistakes become guides, regret transforms into energy, and self-compassion becomes the cornerstone of unshakable strength. Growth, achievement, and personal mastery are the natural consequences of this choice. Every forward step, no matter how small, is proof that forgiveness is not weakness. It is the strategy that allows you to rise, evolve, and thrive with unstoppable power. Chapter 20. Never stop believing that effort today builds your future. Every action you take today is a seed planted for tomorrow, and the effort you invest now is the foundation of the life you will live in the future. The power of consistent effort is often underestimated because results are rarely immediate. and the human mind craves instant gratification. Yet, the truth is simple. Every disciplined choice, every deliberate action, and every ounce of focus compounds over time to create opportunities, success, and personal growth that no shortcut or luck can replicate. Belief in effort begins with the recognition that time is your most valuable resource. Every hour spent learning, creating, or improving yourself contributes to outcomes that will eventually manifest. Progress is rarely linear or visible at first, but persistence ensures that the cumulative effect of small, consistent actions cannot be denied. Each task completed, each skill developed, and each decision aligned with your goals builds momentum that becomes unstoppable over time. The mindset of valuing daily effort requires patience and trust in the process. It is easy to become discouraged when progress seems slow or invisible. Many abandon their goals prematurely because they cannot see immediate results. Those who succeed understand that the power of effort is realized not instantly, but through persistence. Small, consistent actions are the most reliable path to lasting achievement, and believing in them is the key to maintaining the drive to continue. Effort is an investment, and like any investment, it grows with consistency and discipline. Learning a skill, building a habit, or pursuing a goal requires energy, time, and attention. These are not lost, they are transformed into competence, confidence, and capability. Even moments that feel unproductive contribute to experience, resilience, and understanding. Every deliberate choice to act today creates compounding returns that manifest in unforeseen and powerful ways in the future. Belief in effort also means rejecting the illusion of immediate perfection. Waiting for ideal circumstances, inspiration, or recognition only delays progress. Action itself generates momentum and insight. Every attempt teaches you something valuable. Every failure provides guidance, and every step forward, however small, brings you closer to your objectives. Belief in effort transforms waiting into doing, frustration into learning, and delay into progress. The discipline of daily effort strengthens character. It teaches consistency, patience, and self-reliance. When you commit to putting in work each day, you cultivate resilience against setbacks, distraction, and fatigue. Challenges become opportunities to reinforce habits and strengthen determination. Over time, this disciplined approach creates a life in which results are not a matter of luck, but the natural consequence of sustained, focused action. Effort compounds in ways that are often invisible until the moment of breakthrough. Skills accumulated over months, decisions made thoughtfully over years, and persistence through repeated challenges all coalesce into results that are undeniable. The key is to act consistently, without reliance on immediate reward or external validation. Each day's work builds upon the last, creating a trajectory towards success that cannot be interrupted by temporary obstacles. Belief in effort also nurtures hope and vision. When you trust that what you do today has meaningful impact, every task gains purpose. Even small steps, taken with intention, contribute to long-term growth. This perspective transforms mundane or difficult tasks into essential components of a larger plan. Energy that might otherwise be wasted on doubt or distraction is redirected into action that builds competence, confidence, and results. Challenges and obstacles test the belief in effort, but they also reinforce its value. Every failure, delay, or setback provides information, insight, and motivation to adjust strategies and improve execution. Recognizing that each challenge is part of the process prevents discouragement from derailing your progress. Effort is not negated by difficulty. It is strengthened through persistence, adaptation, and learning. The environment you cultivate plays a critical role in sustaining effort. Surround yourself with people, tools, and spaces that encourage productivity and growth. Limit exposure to negativity, distraction, or energy drainers. Structuring your environment to support consistent action ensures that effort becomes habitual rather than sporadic, reinforcing the connection between daily work and future outcomes. Belief in effort is closely tied to accountability. Measure progress, track results, and reflect on actions regularly. Accountability transforms intention into execution and ensures that daily effort is meaningful and directed. Tracking small wins reinforces confidence, highlights growth, and maintains motivation even when immediate outcomes are not visible. This disciplined approach compounds the impact of every action. Effort is inseparable from learning. Every task undertaken, every problem solved, and every attempt made carries information that informs future action. Mistakes, feedback, and experience refine strategies, enhance skill, and build resilience. The most successful individuals recognize that effort without learning is wasted, and learning without effort achieves nothing. Combining both creates exponential growth over time. Believing that effort today builds the future also requires clarity in goals and purpose. Random action without direction dissipates energy. A clear vision provides the compass for decision-making, ensuring that each action contributes meaningfully to long-term objectives. Effort becomes strategic, focused and aligned, making every choice a step toward outcomes that matter most. Daily effort strengthens confidence and self-trust. Every completed task, every skill mastered, and every challenge overcome reinforces the understanding that you can shape your own future. This belief fuels persistence, reduces reliance on external validation, and empowers decisive action. Confidence grows not from results alone, but from the repeated experience of acting consistently and deliberately. Ultimately, effort is a bridge between dreams and reality. The life you desire is constructed incrementally, brick by brick, choice by choice, day by day. Believing in the value of today's work ensures that you do not surrender to doubt, distraction, or impatience. Each action compounds, creating outcomes that become undeniable proof of your dedication, discipline, and focus. Your future is not a matter of chance. It is the result of consistent, intentional effort applied over time. The choices you make, the habits you cultivate, and the energy you invest today define the opportunities and achievements of tomorrow. Persistence, focus, and belief in the power of effort transform possibility into reality, ensuring that your life is built on a foundation of actionable growth rather than wishful thinking. Every day offers a fresh opportunity to contribute to the life you envision. Small, focused actions accumulate into massive results. Belief in the impact of these actions is the catalyst that turns effort into progress. Doubt, delay, and distraction are inevitable, but they only have power if you allow them to derail your commitment. Staying consistent and purposeful ensures that effort is never wasted and that the trajectory towards success continues unabated. Never underestimate the significance of today's work. Each disciplined action, each learned skill, and each intentional choice compounds to create results that may seem invisible now but will manifest with undeniable impact in the future. Belief in effort transforms uncertainty into purpose, fatigue into persistence, and doubt into unwavering resolve. It ensures that every step taken, no matter how small, builds the foundation for a life defined by achievement, growth, and strength. Effort today is the only guarantee for a better tomorrow. By acting consistently, deliberately, and with focus, you invest in outcomes that no one else can manufacture for you. Your future depends on your willingness to persist, to learn, and to act relentlessly. Trust in your daily actions, embrace the process, and commit fully, because every ounce of effort compounds into the life you are determined to create.